All right, hello everyone. This is Yissilmissil Productions channel. My name is Stephen Yisel, and today we are here again with Tom Althouse for part 21 of our interview series. And it's good to have you back here, Tom. It's always a pleasure talking with you. And yeah, we have a few things, a few updates for the month, and since we last talked, and uh, we're going to reiterate a few things. That's I mean, that's a given, but we are repackaging, we are condensing things down, we are making things more digestible for everybody, especially for newcomers. If you're brand new to this channel, welcome to the ride, because this is very anti-narrative, anti-established narrative for the entertainment industry and and um, world affairs too, pretty much. I mean, we're talking about the alphabet letter agencies and all that, and they're all connected to all of these giant corporations that throw all the money around to run the world and do all of these terrible things to people.
That's right. It's exactly as in World War II, Nazi Germany, where the intellectuals were trying to wrest back, you know, control of which way the government was going and which way world affairs were going. And they saw exactly what was happening, and they were being persecuted and hauled off and put away. It wasn't just Jewish or infirmed or Russian dissidents. It was also scholars, intellect, authors, professors were all being hauled off also. And it's interesting that the foundations of America, it's kind of the same thing happened during the Revolutionary War. During the Revolutionary War, they actually banned theater in the colonies because Washington and the rest thought that it would be too influential on the public, the colonists. So uh, a lot of people don't know that actually theater was being banned because they're afraid that it could be too influential apart from the controlled narrative. So there really are no good guys and good girls in history, and maybe we can change that. And those that actually have a heart and brain across the board can come together and actually restore a sense of, benevolence and goodness, and make it not about power, but about common sense and trying to, make a better world and a safer world. I think that would be the better thing. But if you're not that smart, you'd be enticed by the power aspect. And as my sister was saying, that she would matter. She would matter because after getting the rewards, people would remember who she is. She would stand out in history. It's like, that's not what it's about. Give me anonymity and maybe a chance to make the world a little better. And that would be a better route on the heart and conscience to actually go down that path. But go ahead.
Yeah, I was about to say I have the show link for you.
Okay.
I'm gonna send it to your text message here,
All
but
right.
no, I'm following you with all that, with your sister being enticed by all of um, these promises, these this glitz and glamour, as we've said before.
Unbelievable. And it causes a total change of personality where they actually become um, certifiable. I mean, manic and angry at a drop of a hat and self-absorbed. It's like they become a different being. And you watch this transformation while they're receiving all these rewards. And so self-focused like that, like Sophia Stewart's, company she calls All Eyes on Me. And writer, director, producer, all eyes on me. Well, that's what happened to my sister. And it is a very frightening thing to see, that happen where the person then becomes a totally different entity. And basically, as far as personality, where they're the ones saying you should be put away and doing false reports on you to put you away with SWAT teams and things, but it's actually them that are the manic, and you can hear it whenever they talk. Just total self-focus, total drive, all about power. Doesn't work. And
Do you
so,
think? Sorry to interrupt you. Go ahead.
could you,
Um,
sorry, to link onto the chat here that I can cut and paste it?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Perfect. Okay,
Yeah.
good.
Give me a second.
About that, but yeah. But that's what I'm noticing. It's like a cancer. It grabs up the people that are most important in your structure. They call it sourcing. Like again, in the agencies, they source you and take who you trust most, who you rely on most. They can glean information, buy them off. And the persons usually brag about what they've received and what agency is contacting them. And I've got text messages and all kinds of things from different people that used to be very centered in my life that I was told to trust 100% from them. And there they were, you know, yeah, just totally, totally bought. Okay, there it is. Got it.
So, do you think these agencies go after certain personality types, or do they try to get everybody?
That's a great
That
question. I think what they actually do is they weigh the importance of the particular individual on how influential, how key they are to the well-being of the party that they're addressing, targeting. And so that factor comes into if they'll approach them or not, dependent, even with if they're solidly with you, say it's yourself, say it's me, they'll weigh whether they think they can sway me. So yes, they do determine, is this person pliable? Are they open to something? What do they want most? Will they probably respond if we offer it? And they can see through social media and things like that what matters to us most, which is in the original screenplay about that topic of what matters most. And would we give up? Do we have a price that we would accept to receive that, to have that in our grasp? And if the answer is yes, and that usually comes across, you can profile right off social media, go to people's Facebook and chat, Snapchat, Twitter, whatever, and you can find out exactly where they sit and what they would give in. We often leak that. I would do this if this was done. I would do this if I had this. It would take this for me to go with this. And that's when the doors open. It's almost like just letting evil in, with your shield down and broadcasting it. So yeah, there's factors involved, but they certainly weigh who is the weakest link. And if it's an easy person to sway, they'll take that person over one that would be a little more difficult to sway or chance revealing what's gone on. There have been some individuals that have come to me and told me, yes, they were approached and still stayed bad. My sister was one. She actually gave me a phone call the one time and said, Tom, it's your sister. In a very stern voice, she said, somewhere along the way, I screwed up. And then she kept doing it. So it was like still stern, but then it's softening for a moment when she said that, but then she's back to it. Like she had to get that off her chest, you know, almost like saying, if it was us, Stephen, I'm sold and I'm gonna bring you down. I'm feeling bad about it. Just yeah, so it's happened and I screwed up, but then I'm back to doing it. It's an amazing moment where human nature illustrated there, where human nature needs to unload the burden of whatever was left that hasn't been, as they say in the agencies, put in the freezer. Because they talk about putting all your feelings in the freezer. That's why in the Immortals, the agents are monitored with the room monitors. And there's a destruct. If they show feeling or any heart or caring, and it's monitored, on the vital signs that there's any kind of feelings going on or fear, they're terminated. And so they know that. And that's why the agents go around with the phrase, no fear, no fear. That's locked into ingrained into their psyche. So that's what's pretty wild too, is once you show feelings, you're a risk to the agencies. So they're constantly proving those that are bought out that they're going to stay true. It's almost like beating the person tied to the table in the interrogation room to show that you are still on board for the rewards. And boy, did they brag about the rewards. Yeah. It's that
when
bad. It's that
when was
dark.
the last that your sister had contact with you?
I haven't contacted her. She's talking always around me. She'll appear on the page sometimes and just say, thanking friends for understanding her position. And that, it's this tactic to come on there and act like they're with her, even my own friends. And that was done in the past. She'll do things where she'll post something on my page in the past where it was, I never contacted the police. And then the next paragraph right after that, it says, I contacted the police on this date and this date. It's like, what? And then she said, I know you wrote the Matrix. I was there. I know you wrote the Matrix. And the question is, the whole reason the agencies are playing the crazy card and having her play it is to say that he didn't write the Matrix, right? And Stewart's playing it, and all, the Wachowskis played it in their article. So it's like, for her to say, I know you wrote the Matrix, it's defeating everything she's being rewarded to do. And so, okay, so you wrote the Matrix, but you're crazy and should be put away for life. Doesn't work when that's the thing they're holding on to. The other part of he thinks he wrote the Matrix to put him away is he thinks agencies is out to get him, talking in third person here. That's another target thing. And he's crazy and dangerous. And so my sister is given to say he's waving a gun around. He's going to shoot me. Waving a gun around is from Pat Robertson's organization, where they started that, passing around to student body and stuff when I was losing everything after I was approached in their sex ring. They passed this phrase around that he's waving a gun around in school. We have a transcript of them saying that, their own words on tape, on transcript, saying he's at the school waving a gun around, threatening to shoot people. And then the person says, students shoot professors every day. So what you can draw from that, Stephen, too, possibly, and people listening, is that goes to school shootings. Look how they're using that very thing. He goes to school waving a gun around, threatening to shoot people. Students shoot professors every day. That was brought in as a tactic to put me away when I didn't own a gun. And it's like, and I was always talking about peace and everything else through all my work when I was at CBN. So school shootings are actually part of a tactic. Yes, indeed. And my sister was actually the spokesperson at the Sandy Hook event. And now look what happened to Alex Jones, like him or not, speaking on that. And now I'm just told they're making a new law, a new rule that's going to affect that if you are deemed giving misinformation, misguiding the public, you could be jailed. We are beyond Nazi Germany. So, and then they got the AI algorithms, such as chat and all that, saying that if you say, in my case, Tom Althouse wrote the Immortals, we have the copyright. They don't have the copyright for Matrix. They have Mortals copyrighting the Matrix, Mortals title, not Matrix, copyrighting the Mortals title, and saying Tom Hanks is commissioned, ordered by Warner Bros. To write it, and a certificate of authorship for him. What? So if I say all that or any part of that, I could be put in jail for what they deem misinformation. That the chat AI would say, we don't engage in outlandish, preposterous stuff. That's an AI. That's the man behind the curtain operating the AI. That's a human person and a human team determining the parameters for the AI readout on certain criteria and topics to make it look like that is the truth. And it was the Q group that the last thing they said to me when they pretended to do a documentary group for me was that everything will be made clear when the AI algorithms are put in use and drawing from everything available on the net. Now, I had said that too. Yeah, that would work, except they have the parameters in place to make it reversed. And now laws coming into place to put you away if you're speaking the truth. It is a chess game, as Disney said, and they're trying to reverse the checkmate. They had said I had won. Maybe that was to get me to take my eyes away. But right now, they're setting the board that you can't even tell your truth, even if you hold the copyright. Even if you hold the copyright. Unbelievable. And they're trying to claim the copyright of your title and saying they're not claiming their own title. And then replacing the Wachowskis with another writer now for Matrix 5, completely replacing them. Well, if they owned it and wrote it, they wouldn't allow that to happen. We've already seen how they reacted in Assassins when they wanted out of the project and were screaming and yelling. They can't do that. Why is Larry so complacent now? Because now they're going to allow him to be the executive producer. So it's just all there laid out. And I'm watching it unfold. And I believe, Stephen, what's going on is they want me and you and others with us to watch us unfold, to feel powerless, that there's nothing we can do about it. And if we ask them again, why are they doing this? The answer they gave on tape from Disney was, because we can. They can have ultimate power. They said it to me. You have to understand, Tom, it's all about power. Now, they address me that way. You have to understand, Tom, because they're still trying to call me home. And they put that in their series too about it's still time to come home, always time to come home. It's an avatar in other places. Always time to come home, come out of the woods, come back home. You're going to get your new legs back. Yeah, it's been approved.
It's like they're waiting for your morale to break down and get so that you give in to their demands.
Destroy the
Right.
Naboo. Well, yeah, destroy the Naboo, whatever it is. Yeah, that's like basically what it is. Wipe them out. Be part of that. Or look the other way and let it happen without making a fuss. That's my parameters. If I say nothing, then I'm told I'll be allowed to come home. The doors are open. I'll make more money than you can believe. I'll be with multiple starlets. As crazy as that sounds. But that's what they promised Larry and Andy when they had him at dinner by Dina Laurentiis. The same parties are making me an offer. Same thing. Beautiful women as if they're a commodity, fame and fortune. And they're telling me that when I came in, if I come in as a script doctor to launder other people's work, yeah, right? Wow. Talk about heaping coals. Then I would be one of the richest men in Hollywood. Yeah, the offer. And not only that, Stephen, I can bring what? 10 individuals with me that I choose. So that's supposed to get you to go, Tom, let's do this. My God. And they throw in this element. Your family, your children, your loved ones will be safe. They'll be doing very, very well for the rest of their lives and generations to come. Rather than being saddled with, after my death, my son will inherit my debt to Warner Brothers, who's bragging about how much I was worth and how much I got screwed, how they had Rankin in their pocket, how they threw a case, and how, that I have to pay them.
Yeah, I can see how infuriating that could be. Like
It's
just
I can't describe. Can't describe. And then they call you angry, right? What my sister saying? The day my son was murdered, and I'm told he's murdered, she calls and they tried to make her the first one to call me. So I'm not supposed to know that he died yet until my sister called, who hasn't talked to me in 2 years, right? Cut me off as they do that. They cut people off from you once they're bought. They sometimes brag and show you the rewards they can't resist, which is really a weakness in human nature, I think. Most human nature. And so she calls, and what's the first thing out of her mouth? After I'm thanking her for calling, she goes, Sean's dead. You have to say to me that you're angry, bipolar, and suicidal. Say it back. Where's the condolences? What monster has she become? Talk about a transformation. The sister that had, like, I have papers from before and cards from before, even about ethics and psychology, that was trying to protect me from what Robertson did, now doing exactly what Robertson did through his psych people and the same phrases, and it's like it went from I'm your biggest fan, Tom, to I'll be the one that's always there for you. I'll never turn on, I'll always be there, and to this, and then a man in the background whispering. So that's what I'm saying, Stephen. Is it infuriating? Well, one of the things they're doing is they're trying to get you to demonstrate anger so they can say you're angry. Saying that is supposed to get you to do it. Saying you're suicidal is supposed to get it too. And what is the mentality of the party after they do that? Then the sister on the phone is saying, if you don't say this, I may have said this before, but if you don't say this back to me, you just heard your son has been murdered, is dead. Your son that you just talked to on the
and she
phone,
dropped it just like that.
just like that. The first things out of the mouth on the phone. It was like this. I went, oh, Julie, I'm so glad you called. Oh my God, it's been such a, she goes, then it's like this, just this frozen, icy pause. And then you hear, you have to say you're angry, bipolar, and suicidal, Tom. Say it back. And then she said this, if you don't say it back to me, we can have a relationship. And I was like, Julie, we haven't talked in 2 years. You didn't even respond to my birthday when I asked you to. She goes, if you don't say it back to me, you're saying I don't matter. There's the mentality of the robot. There's the mentality of the changed entity into something vicious, cruel, self-absorbed, a Sophia Stewart. What was Sophia Stewart like before she was on the payroll for 5 to 7 million? to handle this author from 2009 to 2014, right? What was she like before? I'd beg to say that she wasn't what she is now. I'd have to say it, that there's a transformation that occurs that I saw in my sister. Now she's paranoid, delusional, monster, like just my mom. There's a tape from my mom where you hear my sister going like this, he's evil. He's evil. He's evil. And then suddenly, in that very conversation, after you hear that flow of, manic, she goes like this. But anyway, you have to. What just happened? You went from 60 to 0 in half a second. You went from a manic rage episode to completely icy calm. That's not normal. The one that should be on which one police officer down in Texas told me. He said, this person should be warranted for a psychiatric evaluation. Your sister should be called in. But she has the psych field degree to protect her, and the congressman to protect her, right? She throws those credentials around, but she should be given help. Serious, serious help before she harms anyone else. She murdered my dad by starving him to death as his power of attorney, ordering that he be drugged and not be fed any food, claiming that he couldn't swallow. He was begging for food. And I had my mom sneak him in on insurers, and he was dousing him, asking for more and asking for me to come. So it took 40 days to kill him. And then she had the audacity to say that she would have family members walk out of the funeral. Why was she so angry at my dad and screaming manically at him too? Because he said Tom was a good guy, that he's a straight shooter, the best of us. And she lost it screaming down the halls of the hospice place that she had put him in. So isn't that something? That's what they become. I never want to see my sister again. I never want to meet her again. I never want to, I don't. But Disney's player said this, Stephen. She's on I have a tape of it too. She said, you have to understand, Tom, your sister was given great rewards and given great threats, basically, right? And I said, what, so you're saying that I should get back with her at some point? She says, yes, I would. They're trying to set up what's in Sherlock, which is Joel Silver's franchise again now, Sherlock Holmes, where they wrote in that the sister is the one trying to destroy him, and he's supposed to go save his sister and basically loses everything trying to save his sister. They set up that very thing because I was watching that show on Netflix, and we know who's involved in Netflix, who's controlling content in Netflix. And it's the same time you have this Royce Babcock, who was sent to me by the FBI, and he's this nobody out of Canada who wears a tinfoil hat and everything. I mean, this guy's gone, but he formed this group he called the Three Wise Men, which is like these other ex-cons, and they claim to be homeless, which agencies do. But we have the emails where they're connected to the FBI. Their job was to put us down and divide any group I had. And so he kept sending this message saying, do you miss me now? 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 Or do you miss me? Do you miss me? Do you miss me? It was really weird. He claimed to be Jesus Christ, first of all, this Royce Babcock. And what's interesting is he was trying to he formed this Immortals remnant site with all these people that are supposed to help put me away, pretending to work with me. But on Netflix, the very next episode we watched on Netflix was Sherlock, and it was billed, the advertisement for it, the trailer was, do you miss me? Do you miss me? Do you miss me? Do you miss me? There's Kate Chilton working with Royce Babcock. Unbelievable. And the rest of the ex-cons. And they pretend to be with you, then they pull the rug and contact every host they can to throw it. And that's why this latest one with this girl that's reflected in Family Guy that we know with an award, Be Humble award, is picking up where Royce Babcock's group left off. Be nice, do 5 shows, and then pull the rug and come at you. And contact hosts and tell them not to use you. That's the game with little hearts attached. That's the game they play. So the FBI is involved in that with the reward system too, like my sister got. And that was a party I felt very close to working with. Those 5 shows were amazing. Of course, all the 5 shows get struck, and then hosts are being contacted even now. That's the game. And
Yeah,
boasting of the rewards. That's why that happened.
I'm under the impression that there are multiple psyops going on within the internet community, and even going on right to this minute. Like we're involved in something right now, like several probably,
Yes, that's
so
why
that we
watch.
don't know about.
They say trace the money, watch the money trail, watch the rewards. Watch the rewards and you'll see what's going on. Now, what's interesting is we had talked about how the agencies are actually fans of this work, right? The Immortals. That's what the Warner Bros. Copyright. They're fans of the work. So what's interesting is they end up mocking Royce Babcock and this woman. And boy, is she mocked. They mocked her in two ways, not to say the name. I'm going to say the name tonight. I don't want to start a firestorm on this. But the thing is that the award was a mocking. The award ceremony she was rewarded with, this unnamed entity that's been tagged on us now with her crazy guy, is Be Humble Award. That was not one of the awards. They made that up for her apart from the other awards. But that's what's so wild. If I got this right, the Be Humble Award, what they're doing is, from my understanding, they're mocking her. We're giving you an award, which is actually saying you need to be humble. You know, they're mocking the easy, like you said about who sells out. There's certain ones that sell out really easy, like my sister and this person, and they mock them within the organization. And they actually lift us up in it while they're doing their job, they said, to bring us down or force us home, force us home back to them. And so that's what's interesting is we're the ones that they want to return and work with them with the, grooming and everything we had. And these other parties then would be cut off. They won't be needed anymore. They'd be loose ends. And we would have the right, once we're back in the organization, which is just should be chilling to these mindless people that are so easy to buy, that we would have given the opportunity to say, just like in the mafia, would you like to be silenced? And we could say it. It wouldn't be us doing it. We could say, this person really bothers me. Say no more, we'll take care of it. That's how they work. And when you're a high profile person like we actually are, which you saw in what your clip is getting, right? So we are, and what Roseanne said, the story is the biggest story everybody knows, like she said. It's going to be great to see her be on her show. But the thing is, what's interesting is we are the ones that the agencies actually see as pieces needed on the chessboard. They're not going to get rid of us like the rooks and the knights. These other people, like my sister, are the pawns, and pawns can be sacrificed. That's how it works. So they're playing right into it. They're only useful for as long as they can disrupt us and help steer us home. Isn't that something? What they need to be thinking about is, why are we still alive? Because they need us still on the chessboard. Why are they still alive? They're supposed to be useful to prod and steer us, but then they won't be useful anymore. Not needed on the chessboard anymore. If they only had half a brain. And the Be Humble Award is a mocking back at them. That's what that is. It's a mockery. Yep, they post it all the time, I'm told, all the time bragging about this award. It's a mockery. They don't, and the agencies show people's caliber of intellect by putting this in plain sight, right? So if they gave me, let's counter that and just make this clear. If they gave Tom Althouse the I'm an Idiot award, and I'm going like, look, everybody, got the I'm an Idiot award, and just put it out there like, I got the I'm an Idiot, and this is a win for all of us. That's what she said. It's a win for all of us. So if I'm going like, hey, Steven, let's broadcast this one. I got the I'm an Idiot award. It's a win for all of us. Do you see how ridiculous that is? But their minds can't even conceive of it. And Seth MacFarlane on Family Guy ridiculed them, just leveled them, and included my piece, and included Disney at the end, Peter flying a helicopter with Disney on the front, saying the very words when something like this. Remember, you can't beat Disney. So there we have in it, done the very day, released the very day, which shows this person was incited. On October 13th, 2023 is when the boyfriend claims that he posted on my site about my son on the son's anniversary and started coming on me and wouldn't stop. That's when the thing was released.
Maybe harassing you.
That's
What
when it
was it on
started.
Twitter?
It started on the day that they released this. So what they're doing is they're unveiling and showing their minions and what they're going to do, but they're mocking their minions in it. Get this, and I'll shut up on this one. They have a thick-lipped, dark-haired, with glasses, podcaster running up to Brian with a microphone as he's about to open this cold case locker, right, or storage facility. And Brian says, oh, that's that cheap podcaster that preys and makes a profit off the suffering of survivors. I was like, God. Then, because Brian says that, up on the rooftop shows her followers with clubs and knives ready to attack.
Yeah, I
And
think you had mentioned this before.
yeah, is that something though?
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's what they rub it in. And then there's more to it. But for me, the way they paint me in it, the episode, which is very, very clear, they made me into this naive guy who is clueless, that loves everybody, and has no idea what's going on. So until if I come home, they'll change that image. But the reason they're doing that, Stephen, is because I keep talking about how everybody matters, that we should save those that aren't part of that 1% of the elite, that everybody deserves a shot. What was I told by Lauren Holmberg on Maui at the Masons, the CIA operative? Don't try to make a difference. Don't try to save anybody else. Just, you're one of the elite now. Enjoy it. You're going to have all this information. That was the caveat. So what's interesting is they will call me naive because I'm not receiving all the offers, including picking 10 people, going to Hollywood as the greatest resort and being, richest guy. They're saying that's naive. So I understand why that's in there. But I'd rather be that depicted than what this other party was, which just nailed it. So for them to stick that in there on the very day that happened on my site, I think that's pretty clear the message is received. They're testing to see who's smart out here. And we catch on and get it, that is a point on the scorecard according to them, which means we're more valuable. Those that don't get it and wave their Be Humble award are considered laughable and considered a excess, just a tool needed to try to bring the main people home. And that's something. So they're actually working against themselves. If I take the offer, this person's gone. So is my sister. So me trying to help all, they're benefiting from while they're trying to bring me down. And I have nothing against them. Isn't that something? That's where I'm considered naive.
You mentioned your sister was involved with Sandy Hook. Could you expand on
You can
that?
probably see the clip. If you look up Julia Zarco and Sandy Hook, you'll probably see the clip where she gets that reward, where it's very selective. They do this on purpose, where she gets to be one talking about on the news about what parents will be going through psychologically. Like she would understand. She doesn't understand the psych field. She got through because it's easy field to get through, really. Easy major. I know. So it's like, I took some courses, easy stuff. And it's all about opinion. So she really soaked that up, getting to be on there. And when you watch her, I can't watch her because when you see her, it's like being like someone who cast film and cast theater and acted and got awards and performance. When I watch her, all I see is Sophia Stewart's company. All eyes on me. And it's like, what a human does when they're all absorbed with that kind of feeling of like totally centered self. There's something repulsive that happens in, which is built into us, I believe, in human nature. When you see somebody so self-absorbed, we either go, oh, or repulsed, or we start to want to get away from it because there's nothing there that matters except themselves. They could be alone in a room, and we don't want to be there. We don't want to see it. We don't want to be a part of it because we can absorb on some level exactly what's going on there. Self-absorption is repugnant. And it's interesting they'll accuse us of that. You and I are not looking for popularity. We're looking for solutions. And we're looking for people to be safe. And boy, have we taken it in the chin for doing so. And isn't that what the agencies are telling me? We're fans of your work, but stop trying to make a difference. And that's why I'm painted as naive. And that's why the pawns that they use have to be, like you said, who they recruit? The ones that are self-absorbed, that want to have, what did Larry get promised? Fame, beautiful women, um, um, fortune, stuff like that. So that's, again, then they have them pretend they're shy, and want anonymity, and how it's like Larry said, it's like virginity. He gets laughed in the humanitarian awards. He says that, like, giving up. And he says that his whole sacrifice was giving up his anonymity. It's like, no, you've been wanting fame from the very beginning with that dinner with Dina Laurentiis. At that dinner with Dina Laurentiis, when he's promised the beautiful women and the fame and the fortune, he's not going, I don't want that, Dino. Check, please. No, he's saying, yeah, Andy, yeah. And the bright hair with the clown hair, like the rag on top of his head, it's all multicolored, screams, I want attention. Doesn't say I want anonymity. But it's amazing that what a congressman can do, taking you around the town car, introducing you at dinners to everybody, which happens to my sister, what that will do to somebody who wants to be famous. Easy, doesn't cost anything. Have them to a black tie dinner, congressional dinner or something, take them to rounds like they did in Jerry Maguire, walk them through the lobby, introduce them to everybody. Didn't cost a dime, did it? But to the person who's sold out, like my sister or so, it means everything. And now that other party I talked about with the Be Humble Award is getting the very same treatment. See, they have to want it. They look for that. So back to your question, what do they look for? Somebody who wants to be famous is the easiest ticket, which employs the Hollywood system in bed with the agencies. That works on those particular people. But the rare ones that aren't looking for it, like ourselves and a lot of people that follow us, it doesn't work. And so then we're labeled difficult. But we're also still very much desired by the organizations because of our intellect. So they wouldn't give me the Be Humble Award. They would give me, it would be more like the naive thing, some kind of angle like that. It's like the be aware award would be something like that, or be smart award, or be for yourself award or something. It's like I've been told that a lot. Just take care of yourself, go for yourself, take what you need. Anyway, but yeah. Anyway, go ahead. Sorry, but I thought that's what flowed out today because it was just like that needs to be spoken. Let's debunk their game. The reason I brought up those people without naming that one individual too is the reason I'm bringing them up is we've got to reveal the game being played. If you are in a position out there where these offers are going to be made like these two ladies I've talked about, it's better not to accept it. You will actually be better standing with you and your family if you don't accept it. It shows that you have a higher degree of integrity, character, of interest for both sides, actually, the good and the bad. It's like you're much more interesting, much more evolved in their mind as they look at the laws of nature. So, yeah, it's interesting. But they actually mock their own. Isn't that interesting? They mock their own that sell out easy. And they put that in their films, too. One last thing, they do put that in their films. They put it in this Viking Valhalla, right? Viking Valhalla. Here's an example of what I'm talking about. They put it right in plain sight. And that one's just loaded with stuff currently. They're again, putting in plain sight. The one leader, right, Earl of Westica or something, this one group, turns and betrays the queen of what is England at the time, right? And so the battle, he turns around and leaves. The Vikings then win the battle. The Viking chief wins the battle. He invites all to the hall, at the very hall of the queen, to celebrate the victory. And he invites the guy who turned and ran, right? Took his army and left. And he's giving out awards to each party for what they did of his own membership. And he allows the queen to live and be with him. And she sees some merit in him, like he's got character and stuff. But then they address the earl that had left. He goes, now award for the earl. And you can see it coming. You know what's going to happen here. the one that allowed us to save the battle. If he had not had turned, we had not won this battle. And now the reward. Bring in the stump. They bring the stump in and they go to cut his head off. And he's like, what are you doing? I saved the battle. I can't stand worm traders. I can't stand people who churn on that are easily sold out, which means I can't trust you. Off goes the head. My sister, this party, be humble. They can't be trusted by the cabal because they sold too easily. And so what happens is that's how the cabal views it. See? And
So
if they're
I might have missed it because yeah, I must have missed it. What was your sister's role with Sandy Hook?
she was a spokesperson. They throw her rewards, but they're tactical.
That's
So
right. You said, yeah,
she got to
okay.
be the
She got
spokesperson.
this
So she's on there.
to go
Yeah.
around and talk. Okay.
She's on,
Okay.
well, she's on the news. They put her on the news and they had her be Julia Zarco, counselor or whatever, talking about what people are going through when it
Would you
broke.
would you say that the Cabal used your sister as a crisis actor?
Yes, absolutely. She was, because when she was on the Jimmy Fallon show, they invited her there as another reward. They gave her a card beforehand and told her, okay, Julie Zarco, here's the question you're going to ask. Just, read it verbatim. You're going to ask this question when it's your turn. Then I'll get you on the show. So, crisis actor? Yeah. She will do anything, take a dump in any corner if it gets her popularity and fame. So she will matter. Even kill her own dad, sell her own brother out. That she had danced at the wedding saying, you saved my life in tears. Special brother dance, wing beneath my wings, or wind beneath my wings. It's like, okay, so I saved your life, Julie. Great. In tears, you're telling me that, dancing with me. And then later, you've sold out. But you do give me that one call where you go, somewhere along the line, you screwed up. Yeah, you did. So what I'm told by my cousin, who was playing me, she's into Scientology. She said, your sister is doing this to you too because she has to. Otherwise, it'll be shown that she has sold out and done all this horror. She actually said she's done such horrendous, terrible things to you that she has to destroy you. Otherwise, it'll be shown that she did these horrendous, terrible things. I'm like, well, what about just doing the right thing and nope, she won't risk it. They don't even, okay, that person can hurt me. That person, in the sense of I've done harm to them. It's like I punched you in the face, Stephen, and I got to get rid of you because I don't want anybody to know that I punched you in the face. But Stephen's going, I'm your friend. I'm not going to tell anybody. I can't take that risk. There's popularity to be had. I want to matter. A congressman. I could be famous. Money, famous starlets for my sister Hunks. It's like, oh, no. I can't take that chance. That's how the brain goes back to a little lizard. It's like there's no, and you watch them change, watch their faces change of different parties. Like, the one, they start to look like they're aging really fast. Because on a subcellular level or something's going on where as they live that incredible lie to themselves, the human mind, the human heart can't handle that. If you lie to yourself and keep that lie perpetuating, your cognitive is going to break down. It's based on truth, information going in that is processed and brought forward with answers out of the subconscious. If you mess up your machine, your mind, your processing center, the way it's naturally evolved, unless the neural link's implied, yeah, then they'll be fine, I guess. But it's like before that, it's like you're putting inputs into your mind that your mind knows is a lie at some level, which screws up the whole processing process. It's all based on truth with how we function. Therefore, you see these people stutter, get lost in their train of thought, get manic because they can't handle it, and physical manifestations occur, plus as look like you're aging really fast. It's amazing because your body is fighting itself, and it's fighting to try to find solutions, but you're telling it you won't accept any solutions because you want to believe the lie. Your body can't do it. Your mind can't do it. Isn't that wild? We are designed that we can't do it. We can't bite that apple and then, pretend we didn't chew it to ourselves. It's going to be, we know we chewed it and we have
Yeah,
to put the inputs. Yeah.
the individuals that choose to sell out, they wear their feelings on their face. They get gaunt. Like you see a lot of them. Um, the Prime Minister of Australia, she's
Hmm.
like
Hmm.
her cheekbones are so sunken in now, and like her teeth are like you see. I don't know.
My sister looks
There's been
horrible.
before and after.
My sister looks horrible. And she was all about how beautiful she is, but she's not. And you're right. And they put that into Expanse. The Expanse, again, by Prime. They're putting all stuff on Prime. But the Expanse, they actually show my sister, exact match. And she's not in any lines. And it's exact actress matching my sister. And it's scary to look at her, like you're describing. And she's standing next to the statesman at the conference where Mars is having the conference with Earth. And she's there standing, same expressions. And she's sitting next to the congressman, if you will. They're showing it. It's unbelievable. And you're right. It shows all over their face. And plus, they only show one layer then to mask their guilt and the falsity that they're living in through their mind. They display one layer at a time and very defensive and usually pretend to be very authoritative. So you'll notice these people because they'll be like this. If I was one of those people like my sister or be humble person, I'd be presenting myself more like, so Stephen, yes. And I feel that like Sophia Stewart does, I'm the authority of everything in the world. It's like they think that'll push back what they're afraid of revealing. It is a mask to try to keep back what might be seen on them, like protect themselves. And you'll see what's really amazing is watch them with their feet. And this is pointed out by a CIA operative on a video where the feet will go like this. They'll cross and they'll go, the foot will keep wiggling. Now, why is the foot wiggling? My sister does this all the time. When I saw the video from the agencies that showed this, I was like, there's my sister. The reason the foot is going like this, they said, is to deflect away from them the attention of their guilt.
Yeah.
Being read. And that's something you see it all the time. And the shoulders. So it's like this protective stance because they know they could be caught at any moment, especially when they're on camera. And so they'll sit there, the legs will cross, and the foot will just go. The foot will just go. It's a deflect, it's look over there, look over there, look over there. It's amazing. So this lady was talking about all the markers you can see on a person when they're totally guilty. And my sister had them all. Everyone, just blatantly. I can't look at her. I just can't look at her. She's claiming, waving a gun around, going to kill me. Like, no, I moved thousands of miles away and aiding away to be safe from you. We don't want you in our life, and I can't even stand to look at her. So that kind of limit what I could do on my end, because I really can't. I can't stomach her looking at her, what she became before I could look at her. No, she's something dark, very, very dark. Self-absorbed doesn't work for me. But that's the whole ticket. That's the golden ticket of the Hollywood and agencies is the self-absorbed play. If you don't have that, if you're not self-absorbed, then you're a hope for humanity. Anyone out there, you're a hope for humanity in a big way. But go ahead.
Yeah, we have a lot of people in the chat and watching live right now. We have Big Island Beach.
Yeah.
We have Norma. We have Connie Daniel who's watching us live, and so that's great. And we have Matt Kermy who asked a question. So I asked for people to ask questions.
Right. See, I can't see the chat, so I'm glad you're pointing it out. My
Oh yeah.
apologies. But thank you.
So
Yeah, I
yeah,
hope it makes sense what I'm talking about. But yeah, I'd like to hear
normal.
your thoughts.
Yeah, normal asked a while back, who's setting these rules? I'm not sure what point that she asked that, so I'm sorry.
Well, it's okay. Setting the rules. Who's setting the rules is a great question. The one
Yeah,
call that I have recorded from the gentleman who says that to refer to him. See, I'm throwing it all away. I'm not taking the rewards, am I? But it's like by saying this. But the gentleman who referred, he said, when I said, "What is your name?" He said, "Just call me," and he gave this Latin word. and it means friend in Latin. And so that's what I'm supposed to call him, friend in Latin. That's very interesting to me. And he's the one that said, look, we have the studios here. We're going to fly you out to Hollywood, and you can pick 10 people and come and all that stuff. Now, reason I'm saying all this is because he described the power structure. He said, you need to learn, Tom, that, it's the movie moguls are way low on the scale. So the Joel Silvers, the Mike Langs, the Steven Spielbergs, all those guys are low ranking as far as the power structure in our world. It's a great question. Guess who's at the top? It's like he said, there's a woman based in England, and there's a group there that really it comes down to a combination of Bank of England, Vatican, agencies, Pentagon, private industries such as Boeing. I'm searching my database here. Hold on in my head.
Epic
there
name
is the
drop.
religious right. Religious right has a piece of the pie. So put this together in your mind as I'm laying out the facets. You got religious right, all the agencies, Pentagon, Bank of England, royalty is very much involved as a influential component. So they're not gangsters. They can influence society. Some woman who it's like right from the Immortals, the architect. So the architect isn't a man, it's a woman. I'm like, wow. Remember that thing from Lord of the Rings where they have the woman, the one elfin leader is offered the ring and she says, would you prefer a woman, someone who is beautiful and terrifying, and she becomes this thing and then takes it off and says, thank you for letting me test myself on that. Well, they're wearing it. Basically, they're wearing the ring. And it's interesting because society isn't spotting that portion of it. We're supposed to be thinking it's all the guys calling the shots. I'm sure a lot of you know that it is women too. But isn't that something that they're using that angle in? Where if you look at Warner Brothers, their lead attorneys are female that act like men. And that's the component that's really interesting is a lot of these women that are doing this harm act masculine. They act like men. So they're brought in by the cabal because they're willing to act like that, like a bad man. Isn't that interesting? So when you meet them, you're like, doesn't even seem like a woman to me. And they've sold out. It's like it's the divine feminine is being twisted and turned into some kind of weapon. And that's why they're employing and giving rewards to more female hosts. Because that's supposed to be something that men can't fight against. You'll be shredded in the public if you take on a woman. Isn't that something? And I see women and men as brothers and sisters. We are all just equal, and it's like, we're the same, really, when it comes down to it. We have different culture or psychological feelings, maybe that because of our upbringings and things like that. Our dads will have us play sports, and our moms, for the girls, will have them, pick out a nice dress. That still kind of goes on, but that shapes the way we look at, our future in society. But as far as beings, we are equal. And when you have the equal partnership, it's amazing. And so it's very interesting that, this is being played that way, that they see using a woman is a way they think they can get a man unhinged. And even Pat Robertson said, you can tell a successful guy. He said, Trump is successful. This is what Robertson said. You can tell by looking at his wife. So Robertson's lusting after Trump's wife at the time before he died, going, you can tell he's successful. Look at his wife. And what was Wachowski's promised? Beautiful women. So I can't really blame these women that have become hench people for these cabal as far as how women have been treated as a commodity or something to make a man look good, and that's really sad that our society went that way. But yeah, so Bank of England, World Bank, Vatican, royalty for influence, Hollywood stars for influence, this way. Court system in America, federal court especially, Pentagon, agencies, religious right. Religious right are guys that are very much illustrating the I want fame collective. They all wanted to be, when I was at their institution, they all wanted to be famous. They all wanted to be famous. It was like their drives. Talk about self-absorption. Sophia Stewart could find a nice place to hang her hat at CBN. That's right, Christian Broadcasting Network. Absolutely fit right there. Or Jerry Falwell's group. Absolutely fit right there because it was like they were all about that. Hollywood, success, all that stuff. And that's why Robertson had the connections with Hollywood. That my screenplay went right there through his group. So that component is supposed to influence a certain segment of society, the Christians or religious group of us. And if you don't go along with them, they'll destroy you, they say. But that's their job. And also to provide a pool of sellouts. And this is reflected with George Bush. When Bush was in presidency, he had 100 of Pat Robertson's law school grads. And in fact, the main number two was this blonde chick from CBN that was known on air crying like, "Oh, you take everything away." Well, that's religious right also. And so they would do anything for fame. So it's a pool of a group of what Robertson was educating in different disciplines to have control in society so he wouldn't be a second-class citizen. And that's why Bush employed his people, right? And then even called the Law and Justice Center of Robertson's group with Jay Sekulow from Florida, his dream team. Newsweek called it his dream team. They're the ones that put Gary Klausner in place on first appointment to throw my case, to be there to throw it. And what's interesting is, I don't know if many people know that President Bush gave Pat Robertson a huge chunk of money as soon as he got in office, because the Christian coalition that I was groomed to be face of supported his campaign. So he got the Faith Initiatives program. Look it up, anybody. Faith Initiatives program. So Pat Robertson gets like $1 million some from Bush as soon as he gets in office. The last thing Bush does in office is give one more injection of the Faith Initiatives to Pat Robertson. And he even said that it's not for all different religious groups or even fundamentalists or Protestants. It's for Pat Robertson. So it's selective, right? Very selective, just like the awards they give, right in plain sight. So that's what's interesting. And it's also interesting to note that Pat Robertson met with Bush before they launched the Baghdad bombs. So it was behind closed doors before they launched. Look who's in power here. So who's in power? Great question. It really centers around the allies from World War II. England, America, and Canada, Australia. What's really sad is your allies from World War II never wanted to let go of the power again. That was the idea. Do you want to simplify it? Just think of them at the end of the war going, we will never allow ourselves to be powerless again. Fair statement, fair thought. But how are they going to do it? We will employ the Nazis because they are the greatest enemy of communism. Therefore, we will employ the Nazis and stop the Nuremberg trials. Look it up. They stopped the Nuremberg trials. And the head of the CIA, Alan Dulles, actually wanted to get Goering. Goering, the top guy who stole art, who stole all the art, had the huge art collection. Just like Joel Silver said, I don't make art, I acquire art. Well, that's the same thing going on right there. And the Nuremberg trials did not release him, so he got the next best he thought was the top of the SS. So he gets these guys, brings them on board, just like the Immortals says. And now they're part of our society, from rocket scientists to security to you name it. And Pat Robertson and the Religious Right actually had all these families that were ex-Nazi families that were brought over, part of Operation Sunrise. So they bring him over, and Pat Robertson gets divvied out from his daddy, who's a U.S. senator, who's benefiting. And you got Schlosser, Schonoff, Heinz Schonoff, Elser, all these guys, Hunt, all these guys are Robertson's part of the organization. Nazi Hitler Youth, all this other stuff. You wonder what's going on? And what's his agenda? To have a one world order where he is first-class citizens and not second-class citizens. And it's a one world theocracy. And they're going to simulate the second coming to do it using Hollywood and Spielberg involved in that. And the agencies to pretend that Christ is coming back because they don't think Christ exists. That's right. Hear me again. Robertson didn't believe in Christ. He believed in it as a vehicle. And he even said in his Pat Robertson's Perspective, his newsletter, that the dumbest demographic in the US was the evangelicals, his own power base. So they want to do a second coming. And Robertson said it. We're going to have a man-made mountain. And he had it made on his property, Mount Trashmore, second Trashmore. They made this man-made mountain, trash piled up, earthed it over, so he could interview Christ when Christ returned. They renamed the school Regent University to rule in place of God, simulating Christ coming down and giving the mantle authority to Pat Robertson. But they said that I was a fly in the ointment, that because of the sex ring and what happened to me, they had to postpone everything. Hollywood.
Are you saying Robertson was going to orchestrate the second
with Hollywood and the agencies? Yes, that's why they were testing in the skies,
Wow.
turning the sky red, trumpets over Jerusalem. Look it up. The trumpet sounds, that's in the Immortals. What I was whispering through art was this plan to do a second coming where you hear the trumpets in the sky turns red. They're still trying to think if they can pull this off. Robertson didn't last because he said, I screwed up his campaign for president. If he had been elected, he was almost there. This would have happened. See? And I was supposed to be the face of it. I've been there welcoming the false Christ actor back with all the special effects. Now think of it. It sounds implausible at first, but think of it. If you want to reunite the world, what is Western Christianity parties waiting for? What are we conditioned to do if Christ returns? If Christ returns and we see all the signs, the sky turns blood red, the trumpets in the air, and the ascending onto the mountain, there's Pat Robertson. You know what his PR team said to me from Florida? They said, Pat Robertson has us working on how to get enough power up to the man-made mountain to interview Christ when Christ returns. So what happens is if we all watch it happening, what are we conditioned to do, Stephen? Anyone in the chat?
To believe
give
it.
all our free will over to Christ returning and peace on earth and a new world. That's the trick play. That's why I whispered through art. And that's why when the Wachowskis said they're keeping the exact same ending, look at the Matrix trilogy ending. The exact same ending. What happens? Identical figures facing off. The hands bleed on the one, the Neo character, looking up, identical figures. Pulse wave comes out, renewing the earth green again. They come up and point to the sun. That's the Immortals. Was warning about the false second coming they were planning. And they keep this, and everyone said, just blow it up, blow it up. And they said, we're keeping the exact same ending. Exact same ending of what? And Joel Silver at the end, after they shot it on the very set, after they're done shooting, he's interviewed in 2003. And he says, we hope we used up the rest of the story. We hope that when we watch the rushes, the final takes, it'll tie together. You would know that if you had a real script, like we said. But Joel Silver had a compromise. Remember, the Wachowskis do say it. You can see them saying it. You hear them. You watch the video where they say, everyone said to blow it up. We kept the same ending. Okay. Well, there was a compromise made. If you're going to keep the same ending, you can't have Christ in it. Because in mine, the identical figures are Christ facing off the architect looking like Christ, so we can complete what Robertson was planning with the cabal, right? They kept it. What a blessing they kept it. That's as bad as for them as Rankin giving me the wrong tape recorder back at my deposition where they're Warner Bros. Admitting on tape, their attorneys, we have no working drafts, as moot point to ask for discovery, which is fraud on the court. So this is the same. God is smart. Keep in mind, the theme of the Immortals is man tries to outwit God, man and bought women, and God outwits man and the bought women. That's the theme, right? And also the theme of the rich in the future have immortality and the poor is used as pawns. We talked about the pawns in the chessboard. They say chessboard. And that's what Joel Silver puts in Altered Carbon with Netflix, with their attorney going over to Netflix to control litigation content or film content and control litigation over it. So that's what he says, that the greatest sci-fi concept, he had all my notes in Discovery, all my thoughts, explanations, drafts, notes, everything. And he comes up with Altered Carbon, where he said that it was a mundane idea I had in my script, yet he says the same concept that's in my screenplay, and he says it's the greatest sci-fi concept ever. But it was written to warn what their plan was. So anybody listening, note, the plan was a second coming. As implausible as it sounds, like I said, That was it. And note anywhere, look up online if they've been experimenting with sounds in the sky, trumpets in the sky, turning the sky red. That's to get all of humanity to give their free will over. One more note on this, please, is anyone with the Matrix, does the architect talk about controlling free will? Having free, how to have free will of humanity, how to have their free will given to him? Well, in the Immortals, it's all there. In the Matrix trilogy, at the end, the architect is babbling with the Oracle, and they call it one of the worst of all 11 sequel endings ever in history of film, because the architect's just babbling with the Oracle about a tentative truce. No, in the original work, it ends with the architect defeated by Christ. And the scene where Neo's hands bleed and he looks up slowly, that's in there. Actually, the Christ figure is shot by the architect in the chest, and the palms bleed with the Christ looking down and looks back up, and that's the architect knows it's over. He's doomed. Then the architect in the original falls on his knees and becomes supplicant, like saying, and that in our programming, even in our religions, we're supposed to go, then he's going to be saved. Vatican, right? He's going to be saved. He's asking for forgiveness. Ha! Well, what happens is the Christ figure, as I was guided to write it, picks up the architect and throws him into the crater. The pulse wave comes out, turning the urine green. Little girl's renewed to life again. No scars, comes up and hugs Neo or daddy and points to the sun. Has that last line that makes sense to audiences. That's the man that pulled me out of the fire. They kept the same ending, but what they do with Neo? Neo instead takes Christ's place. Same thing with the bleeding palms. And then what happens is Neo is shown with his arms out with a gold cross in his chest, mocking God in the stolen work. I would not want to be Larry Wachowski. I would not to be Larry Wachowski, even as executive producer for Matrix 5, even though he's not going to have a part in the writing, which he threw a fit over Assassins when he was taken out and never stopped whining about that. I would not want to be Larry Wachowski because he has just mocked God and the work written for God's glory to help save our world and save our kids. Larry Wachowski, you are the most marked, worst individual ever. My sister comes second. Yeah. There it is, mocking him. So look at that image with a gold cross on Neo in a crucifix position. They said earlier in the Matrix stories that Neo's not supposed to die. So why, Wachowskis, as you're making it up as you go along with the teams of Warner Brothers, are you having Neo die in the end? Right? Why?
That's a
not supposed to
question.
die. Yeah, not supposed to die. He's supposed to be reunited with his daughter. They took the relationship out. The reason they were removed from Assassins as the writers and threw the fit is because they didn't want this central sympathetic character, quote. They didn't want the love relationship, and they wanted more violence. That's what was done to the gift to humanity that I was given to write, that was supposed to help us and reveal and help stop wars and bring together a team that would have cross disciplines and have compassion to help right the wrongs in our world and solve problems. That was the code of the Matrix, and that's what they robbed humanity of. And they gave you a dulled down, simplistic mess of a chopped car that doesn't run. And you're supposed to go like the A actors did at the Barbara Walters interview. Well, they must be geniuses. They wrote the Matrix because they're making fun of how the Wachowskis talk, that they don't make sense. So the Wachowskis, like Larry, are super egos, which means they can't write that stuff. If you're a super ego, you get, like we said, you get lost in that weird world. And they're giving out materials to read. I think a lot of people know the different reading materials that were required on set. Ever had to recruit? You know what? Guess what? Here's a big eye opener. Larry never read it. Larry and Andy never read it. He's too busy going off to his S&M partners. He was not reading it, but he gives it required reading to make himself look smart. Isn't that something? That's like me going, here, Stephen, here's required. You read Ulysses before we have our next show. Yeah, read it. Required reading. Did Tom read it? No.
And they made them read all these books before even reading anything from the Immortals, which eventually they put their name stamped on it.
It's like a scam school.
There's video
class,
of
yeah, it's like a scam school. If you're going to be a fake professor at a scam school, it's like, here, read these materials, report back on it, read these materials. Great. You put your people to work. You make them think you're smart. They're paying you money? Yeah. It's like, that's exactly what it was. Larry doesn't understand. I would love to have people like, I'd love to have an interview with Larry and have you read some of these materials, or we'll read it and then ask him questions about what they think of this material and then go like this. It would be great. I mean, I'll blow it right now, but I don't care. Like, say something that's not in the book and say, well, what do you think of this? Where they say about the retroescence bioluminescence in the organs, reproductive organs of the antocids. What do you think? Larry's like, well, I think it was a very good point. I can see him saying that, like, I think it's trying to sound extra authoritative, and then Andy going, yeah, some people think that they know it all. Anyway, so it's like, yeah, get him to agree. I wouldn't be surprised at all. It's like, yeah. Or dodge the question. Turn it out. What was the thing that made them turn off from doing galas? That Joel Silver said later, the boys are shy. It was Joel Silver that started the shy thing. Wasn't Larry and Andy. Larry and Andy went the cameras like crazy. But Joel Silver said, enough of this. You guys are blowing it. Just like they're saying now with Matrix 5, you guys blew it. So therefore, you can be executive producer, Larry. Andy, I don't want to be part of it. I want to get caught. Okay, Andy, you're not in it. So then we'll have another writer brought in. Same thing at that gala, after wanting every gala attention media, they weren't shy and all the hair again. So what happens is at those events, what was asked in the shown in the transcript? The last question, seems like Christianity and Christ is part of the film. Can you expound about Christ in this and Christianity? What's Larry's answer? That's all the time we have for questions. And then they didn't want to do interviews anymore. Or Joel Silver at least said, they're shy. And then Larry's going, I'm shy. And so when he gets the humanitarian award after 12 years of no interviews, he's going, well, see, I looked at anonymity. We needed anonymity, and it's sort of a form of virginity. And so after the laugh there, I'll continue. And so then I didn't want to give that up, but I'll receive this reward. And what I want to say is that I sacrificed my anonymity, and we'll do interviews and be seen now. And I've sacrificed it in order to help people. Oh, so you're getting a reward, the Humble Award, basically, humanitarian Be Humble Award, and you're going to be wanting every interview you can, and you're saying you're sacrificing doing that you're going to be popular, like my sister wants to matter with popularity, and that's somehow a sacrifice. So, Stephen, I don't know if you can make that sacrifice, but maybe you can get a humanitarian award too by suddenly getting hundreds and hundreds of thousands of views, which actually started happening. But it's like, getting all these views. It doesn't work anymore. Getting all these views. And it's like, you could get a humanitarian award too, because you just lost your virginity of your anonymity. So I know it's hard. I hope you can stomach all the attention. God help us all. God, you know what he says during the program too? During the award ceremony? You ready for this? He actually says this. He goes and says, I'm a talker. I love to talk. Larry, you just said that anonymity and you're shy and everything else, and that's why you didn't do interviews for 12 years. It started with a Christian question, or something cut after doing all the interviews, and now you're doing all these interviews now. So his hunger and lust for doing all the interviews is because he sacrificed himself. Anyway, so it's like his anonymity. But yeah, if you say you're a talker and you love to talk, that's not a statement from a shy person. And if you're doing it with a clown wig on that looks like, the scene from Dick Van Dyke from Chitty Chitty Bang Bang when he's playing the Muppet guy, dancing around the music box girl for the king as a toy, I don't think you're trying to be unseen.
Yeah, animals wear bright colors in the Amazon to let others know that they're poisonous. So
yeah, there you go. So yeah, I actually have that clip though where he's talking like that. And it's just exactly what I just did. And it's unreal when you watch it and see him talking about, the anonymity and virginity. So, I mean, I could share a screen and show you, but it's like,
no thanks.
God,
No,
you don't want to see it.
I had the visuals in my head when you were talking like
that's the two things I don't want to watch. Two things I can't stomach anymore is watching anything with my sister or Larry Wachowski. God help us. But do you remember what he said during the award ceremony, the first awards he got for Matrix, when he talked about his matching hair, what matches it? Did I tell you that?
Yeah. It's
You know what
just
I'm talking about?
it's just very it's low
Who does
energy,
that? Who
low
does that
or
at an award ceremony? Who does that?
it's low
Can you imagine that?
vibrational energy. Yeah. Well, they're so concerned about their sexuality that, and plus they're putting on a show because they're not actually.
Not the real people. So you're right. That's another way to deflect their guilt being
There's like
seen.
multiple things going on with the W brothers there. More do
Exactly. That's a
There's
good
the
point.
Wachowskis and then there's the Warner brothers. But yeah, the Wachowskis are pretending first and foremost. They're paying off debt. They're doing all of this stuff because they tripped up with their end of their whatever contract they sold their souls with. Uh,
And I would say this too. I'd say not suicidal here. And Larry claimed to be. My sister is, desperately. So I was trying to get her some help, and it's
yeah,
like
Tom is
not,
life loving.
yeah, and thank you. And like not suicidal, not bipolar. I mean, I wouldn't be able to have a conversation with you all this time and all the times we've done it where you wouldn't see what my sister illustrates. That remember that dichotomy where it's like suddenly switches from one thing to the other, like highs and lows and like just manic. The manic is part of that, right? You have this manic sound, and boy, yeah, I don't want to do it again. But it's like
They're done.
imitating my
It's
sister.
all
Like
right.
imitating my sister makes me feel ick. It's like that manic sound that we have on recording. It's on tape recording. We have it. We can play it at some point if she keeps this up. And when you hear my sister manically going off, anybody in the psych field would go, this person needs to be psychologically evaluated, like the police said. She needs a warrant on her to be hauled off and evaluated psychologically. But because she's in the field, which many do, many sick people enter the field to cover themselves with credentials. So they're not evaluated. She needs to be evaluated very, very badly, very badly. But all she does is waves that and waves the congressman, you know. But it's very evident. But that sound that they make, and it's just this like, I don't know how to describe it. What does manic sound like? It's shrill, very rapid paced talking, where it's like panicky. It's like an angry
Up
panicky.
talk. It's the up talk
Yeah.
where
And it's
everything ends in a question.
yes. And go back to what she accused on the death of my son, which would be the most opportune time to try to get me rattled, right? When I just hit with that, a father hearing his son was killed is again angry, bipolar, and suicidal. That's her. And you hear it on her, but the agencies won't do anything about that because she's needed as a tool until. So again, it goes back to the point. If we were brought in, would she be needed anymore? And would she be a liability to them? If they suddenly start, let's say we sold out, which we're not going to. If we sold out and we're being groomed and touted around, here's the original author, and here's the guy that just made it all happen. And it's like, and others, it's like, and then what is she needed for? She'd be screaming for more rewards. She'd be losing it. She'd be like, she's very vindictive. So she'd be like, if you don't do this for me now, I know it. Duh. She's bragging about the bigger awards she's going to get than when she's on the floor of Congress being honored in her red dress and red shoes. So it's like, wow. But then go back to what the agent said or the person on the phone from Disney, right? Saying, you should welcome her back. So what they're setting up, I get it now. It just came to me, Stephen. I get it now. Netflix, by putting it in with Joel Silver's show, they're trying to assure Julie that her brother will not do anything to say, go ahead and just get rid of her. That her brother will welcome her back and that there's nothing to worry about. And she knows that. So that's what they're doing. They're trying to condition me to say, which my nature is, it's okay. I forgive you. What I did when she called me and said somewhere along the line she screwed up. So interesting. So saying, he's waving a gun around, going to kill me to put him away. She knows I'm actually somebody embracing her when she called right before that. Interesting. So that helps me understand the mentality a little better. What they're doing is they're trying to make it so if we came home, then none of my family would be harmed, including my sister. See? How about that? Happy ending if I come home. Not so much for the other writers and their families that I'd be ripping off. See? Wow. Then I could have the company. All eyes on me too. Yeah,
But at what cost?
exactly. Could you imagine Dina Laurentiis coming to the dinner, sitting down with Wachowskis and saying, listen, what we're going to offer you is you won't have any exposure, like no um, uh, TV exposure, but a lot of people will be helped and you won't be known. In fact, you may be mocked, but here, enjoy your flounder. And basically, you and Andy will be able to make some good things happen for other people that'll become famous as a result. And if Larry was true at the humanitarian awards, he'd be like, as long as I have anonymity, it's like virginity. I will be okay. And thanks for the food and this drink here. Andy, what do you think? Well, I'm kind of like a bar guy, but I think that, yeah, that sounds fantastic. I don't want any attention. So yeah, I could see that dinner just folding on like that just perfectly. Just as exactly as it would go. But rewind the clock and you got beautiful women, fame, and fortune. Larry, I just want screw that. Yeah, I'll take it. Fame means no anonymity right from the start, right from the table, right from the very beginning, right on the table, right at the beginning. Fame means no anonymity, your virginity thing you're talking about. Fortune probably means you're going to be seen a lot too. Beautiful starlets means that you're going to have a lot of attention. You sure, Andy? You sure, Larry? Sure you want that? Well, okay. But isn't it something that, like you said, the Warner Brothers orchestrated it that at the awards ceremony, Joel Silver too, to keep pitching that idea of being shy to excuse those 12 years of silence when I could reclaim my work. Let's see. Until the author's destroyed, no speaky. Joel Silver too, not a word. He resigned until the case was thrown. Then they're all like, boom, let's go ahead and steal with impunity. Yeah. Yeah. And do interviews. And there's an article that actually said that Wachowskis broke their silence as soon as the case was thrown and can't be shut up now. They said that they're looking for everything, like a whorehound. So they're looking for any platform they can get to speak. So I just think it's an interesting picture. In the future, people will look back and go, this is easy reader. These days, people say this sounds very convoluted and it's almost too much. In the future, it'll be like, it's common. I mean, how could people not get it back then? So God bless the people that actually get it.
Yeah,
They can see and get the pieces together like you're doing. And thanks for orchestrating this, Stephen, to get the
I,
pieces together.
you're very welcome, Tom. I wanted to expand a little on what you just mentioned. That people in the people watching this later on, years from now, too, they they might look back at this and be like, well, how did how did like society not really catch on to what's going on with all of this? Well, it's kind of hard to explain because
When
like
you
the
hold the
inter
copyright, right? When you hold the copyright and they copyrighted your title and they give it to Tom Hanks, commissioned and ordered to write it and give him a certificate of authorship when he didn't write anything really, just 3 pages. Like, yeah, but go on. That's the thing. Yeah.
yeah, like my thing I was gonna say is like the internet's changed since from what it was in the 90s. It's not what it is today. It was a lot more open source. There was a lot more going on, and now it's like you can't even reach like all 5% of your subscribers, like let's say, because I it's ridiculous. It's
Well,
really
what's their
ridiculous.
answer? Yeah, shadow banning was their big thing, except for that one piece to show us actually what audiences are, and that we're being
And
told that it's everywhere.
I'm gonna get to the chat again shortly. So
Sure, okay, but one piece too is again, what's their answer to keep people in the future knowing what's going on? Let's talk about the future people, generations from now. Chat algorithms and making it illegal to speak the truth. It's really what it is. You can be hauled off to
yeah,
jail for speaking what they determine is fact and not fact. That's totalitarian.
yeah, everything got
That's the
tunneled.
definition.
What those politicians were talking about like 10 years ago, saying like the internet's a series of tunnels, like they literally made it a series of tunnels now, where in sense of like the content that you have access to, it's within a constrained limit. There's no more open access.
No,
And I
with a
think that's
punitive edge now, a punitive edge being attached. It's just mind-boggling. What happens in Fahrenheit 51 or whatever it was, or 54, whatever it is?
451.
Yeah,
Yeah, the
was that the
burning of
one
the
that has
books.
the couple has sex and they're arrested for doing it or something? And
Oh,
um,
I'm not sure.
whatever one is,
Um,
where they're not allowed
oh, that's
to.
Pleasantville. That was Pleasantville.
Oh, and there's this also one where you're not allowed to speak certain things. If you speak it, you're monitored in your own home. We're getting there. We're getting there right now. We are monitored all the time. And in fact, on my phone, which was totally erased when I was downloading the FBI files, um, was
Yeah, we're
erased
going to talk
completely.
about that too before
Yeah,
we go.
and when I went into the Best Buy to get it fixed up, and they tried to restore Messenger, right? And they said, well, it's easy to do. And what happened was, let me see, it's right here. So we're restoring Messenger, and every time, here it is right here. Every time he pushed Messenger activate, it deactivated, went off. So he gave me this. I guess here's right here from yesterday. And it has a checklist of what you do if it doesn't reset. And that's the tech guys doing it, the Geek Squad. And so they went through the entire sheet and it kept shutting off. And they're like, this is, I never seen this before. How many times have we heard that, right? And so I said to them, don't worry. It's AT&T, which is owned by Warner Brothers in shares. And they try to throw this at us. Yes, it is. Look it up. And so what happens is, those that are the shills, no. But anyway, so it's like they're doing that. And I said, just wait. Once you get through the whole list, exhausted, frustrated, exhaust the whole list, it'll turn on. They'll stop playing the game. And so they go through the whole list. He goes, it's not working. Nothing's happening. It turned on. He said, just turn on. I said, yeah. He says, they must just be listening. I said, yeah, they do. I said, we'll have conversations coming on, male voices. They'll print things across our screen. They'll move game pieces on us and stuff like this. It's like, yeah, they're letting us know they're there.
Tom and I try to have phone conversations, and most often I'm not hearing half the stuff Tom's saying because it's
It's
going
garbled.
in and out, in and out. This is the only way Tom and I can talk uninterrupted, and it's
That's
kind
right.
of
That's right.
like
Oh,
this
what
is the
happened?
way we have to do it.
What Facebook yesterday? What happened was my friend that's another country that's putting together a piece also, right? What happened with him? His messenger thing, right, on Facebook. At the same time it's happening to the phone and happening to the Geek Squad, we've got this thing where the little boxes where it shows a little phone icon and camera icon. The only one that didn't have a phone icon was his. Couldn't contact him. After he tried to call me and it said accept with a green button, I punched that like 40 times, wouldn't accept, make it look like I'm refusing his call. And then it didn't let me call him on the thing. So I had to email him to let him know I was being blocked from receiving his call. The only thing we can do now is email. That's all we have left. So they're hitting every single sourcing. And they one of the reasons they do this, Stephen, is they know that we know, and they want us to know that they know that we know. So they're playing this game with us where they'll talk on the phone with us. But that's also part of that drive to drive us home, right? They want you and I to go back into the fold, go back home, and forget the rest of the population. So, and that's the thing is I finally got over that pressure that I felt where I started to weaken, where I felt like, what am I fighting for? Who am I fighting for? Why am I putting my last son's life in jeopardy when the ones that know I wrote the work are the ones that stole it and the organizations like Disney that are making offers? I went through that testing, right? Think of it. My son will live, my friends will live. We get the best of life. I get to pick 10, and they are, say we're fans of your work. They know my work, and my other work will be made that my son can enjoy and live after my other two sons were murdered, where the rest of the population, by and large, is mocking and believing that I lost my case and that I don't have a case to stand on, that I'm some kind of fraud, while this woman who is getting a Be Humble award and contacting hosts now and saying, don't use Tom Althouse, he's a liar, right? And I'm helping to protect her by not giving in. So that was the pressure I went through, Stephen, and those listening. And I held in there like you did and said, I will not acquiesce. I will not stop, because I'm hoping to affect Disney and the others, and where they decide to make a good choice, where they said, if we can see one good person Show us one good person that doesn't give in, that doesn't have a price. They want to see that. Isn't that something? So it's either have a better world altogether, or, I sell out and have a great life with you and some other close associates. My son lives a life of a king. We travel, have the best, and the world can go on thinking what it wants to think. And I'm just not around there for them to mock anymore, and I get to make other work. And that temptation comes in where it's like, if I make my other screenplays, they're after these other screenplays that are buried, right? They want them really badly. That's on the tape too. They really want me to show them, right? And so if I did that, I can make my work. The mentality goes, I can still do some good by doing good content within the cabal. See the pressure? And right now, what I was given, Stephen, and what you've experienced yourself, I'm sure you can attest to, is if we laid it out on a sheet of paper, the pros and cons, the pros to going to the cabal outweigh the cons 1,000%, except for one thing. I will not go against God. I will not be an idiot. I will not sell my integrity and soul that when I look in my child's eyes, he knows his dad's sold out. I can't do it. And in the face of my dead children, my two sons that died, I cannot let their memory be dishonored by their father giving into this. The rest of the population, most of the people out there, yes, you've convinced me I should give in to the cabal. You've mocked me enough. I get it.
I'd say you should say your son's names and speaking
Sean
loud.
Michael and Kirk Daniel, which is in Saving Private Ryan, is in Minority Report, is in The Good Place. It's all over the place. And now The Sacrifice in the Viking film under Netflix and Prime. Netflix, I think it is. Yeah, Netflix. Where they have who's being sacrificed and their blood being drank? Aiden. They finally came out with it. Aiden is sacrificed. And they show the blood being drank.
And how did you interpret that?
Very clearly. That my son, my last living son, I crossed the line. I still fought for those, even those that were mocking me. I still fought for the general population where I was told by Lauren Holberg of the CIA at the Masons on Maui, don't try to make a difference for them. Just accept being part of the elite now, that 1%, and get the rewards. That I had crossed the line. And I still I was fighting for those that were fighting against me. Like the be humble person and her boyfriend and my sister and the rest. Yeah. So because of that, they told me they knew I was concerned for my last son's safety. It's on tape from Disney, right? Disney exec. We know you're concerned for your last son's safety. That was supposed to keep me in line, keep me from talking. Aiden had said, Dad, keep going. Don't stop. If anything happens to me, keep going. Don't take any revenge. Just keep going. Do what you're doing. That's what he said. Made that amazing video, Father's Journey. And it's like, so that's what I'm getting from that is they're threatening, yes, they will take my last son's life because I was fighting for everyone. What's wrong with fighting for humanity? And after all I sacrificed and all I gave, and you did too, and others out there, they're listening in, you've sacrificed. If I hear one more time anything against all lives matter, I'm giving everything because all lives matter. Don't anyone dare tell me they don't. That's what I'm fighting for. All lives matter. If anyone says to me that's wrong, or that I'm threatened for saying that, that's the core of what humanity is supposed to be.
It's
That's our future.
That whole BLM movement was a trap to like get you caught up talking about this
Or to shut us up. Right, or to shut us up.
So that we don't move on to that heightened next level of conversation with people. They just keep us back down here, back to the color of all this.
That's right.
It's
think of it this way too. You just made me think of it. When I say, as many of us will, all lives matter. We say it publicly. I'm saying it publicly. All lives matter. That breaks down to this. if there's a group of us standing together, all demographics, all different groups, representatives of different groups, right, in a room, in a circle, and I say all lives matter, and one individual, anybody from the group says, no, they don't, you can't say that. What group doesn't matter? Okay, tell me what group doesn't matter. What part of humanity, what slice of humanity doesn't matter? Tell me, people. And so what we go right there is back to the whole problem of why the wars have occurred, right? And they're doing this thing of like hummus and Jewish and things like that. And it's like, I'm not for any war crimes or anything, but I'm not going to say Jewish people are bad, Hamas people are bad, Indonesia people are bad. It's like I was thinking the other day too, we're not white. Stop calling us white. I'm more, I say my skin tones are more golden.
We're
maybe
so
golden.
beyond we're like at this point we're very old souls that are living an umpteenth amount of life here on this earth, and like at this point in time, like all of this stuff is so silly.
We're the dumbest.
It doesn't matter. Like we're sitting here like busting our ass trying to just live day in day out, and these people are trying to say, well, like this guy didn't like so and so. It's like get all that like, out of here.
How to Start a Fight in 10 Minutes is be the bestseller book. It's like God help us, and it's like,
well, you don't like it.
We are the dumbest time in history. This is the dumbest time in history. But I feel like if God had said, which one do you want to go to? We would have said the one we can make the most difference in. And please give me like-minded people that feel the same way to travel together. You'll all go. You won't know each other, but you'll all go. What a story that is, right? And so we all appear. We don't recognize each other at first. And we're here trying to make a difference at the worst time in history. And boy, are we.
I got to share with you this moment I had the other day, earlier this week. I was walking into the post office and I was outside and I swore I recognized somebody walking out. And I'm like, hey. And I smiled at them. I pointed at them. And I continue to look at them. And I don't know if it was just me having an off day, but like it was nobody I recognized. But I had that familiarity, like, it's been so long. I finally have seen you, but I have your name on the tip of my tongue. I can't say their name. And the longer I looked at their face, the more unrecognizable they became. And I'm like, dang.
That actually happens to me too, where
and I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm mistaken you for someone else. Have a good day.
I'll see a complete stranger and I will see imagery along with them. It's like one time it was like Bavarian mountains with flowers and on a beautiful blue sky. It's like certain people provoke an imagery or have an imagery come through. And it's like I employ it in my writing also, where I'll use imagery. And it's like, it's interesting that I think there is something going on where we are predisposed to or predetermined to come across each other's paths at a certain time, that it's part of God outwitting man. And the synchronicities, I think a lot of people see these synchronicities increasing where it's like, oh my gosh. And it's like it's becoming stronger and stronger and stronger. And to me, it says you are in a created sphere. You're in a situation where everything has been laid out. And it's almost like we're playing our part, like in the Truman Show. It's really wild, but it's like we are actually, more and more signs are being shown to us that this has all been predetermined and we're doing our parts. And what's interesting with that aspect, one last part of that before you go release it to you, is this. There's a feeling that we've done it well. I can't get rid of this optimism and this feeling, this sort of optimism feeling. It's like, I keep feeling that we've done well, we've succeeded. And it goes back to what Disney said, you've won the chess game. When they said you've won the chess game, it wasn't for the now, it's for the future. It was like they said it that way, like they understood this rules of engagement, where I can't shake it that we've succeeded. I already feel like we've been to the celebration. And one of us said, let's go back and relive that again. Let's go back and do it over. And we're like, you sure? Yeah. Okay. And we're back. But there's this knowing that we prevail. Isn't that something? And the other side knows it too. And people can throw in this idea of time travel, which I think is possible, with what Einstein was talking about too.
Yeah, I think time slips
Sure,
exist.
I believe it 100%. And that there's even going to be time traveler tourists that I believe that often many of us will feel we're not alone in a room. And that at a very important point in an unfolding of history, which may be a replay, who knows, that there's a crowd. There's a crowd. And they're there to observe that moment. And I've been starting to become very aware and reliant on that to alert me that this is a crucial moment. I need to really buckle
Yeah,
down and do it right.
that
Does that make sense?
this leads into a very good question. What are we here to observe? Hmm?
Right, right. And that's right, because
Like,
something's unfolding at that very moment. And I'm becoming aware of it now. And I've had people say to me, not very kindly, they'll go, there's a crowd around you. It's demons. I'm like, there's no demons here. I would know if it was a negative force. It's not. There's no demons around me. And if I'm been measured and doing good and my work all reflects it, like Christ said, if you're going to judge me and you can't see who I am,
they
basically,
might
judge me by my works.
they
Yeah.
might just not be cat people and they see your cats jumping around the back all the time. The demons are flying everywhere, Tom.
No, but this was back when I was like on international Shakespeare tours and stuff.
Oh,
This one
okay.
girl was like in
Okay.
Canada. She's like, you're surrounded by demons. I'm like, she was pretty hostile, but I'm like, no, I don't think so. Nope. The CBN did the same thing. These CBN guys were on this trip in London doing this improv troupe thing. It was really fun. It was cool, but it was for PR for Robertson. It's all filmed and used for his pieces, just fundraise. But we're there doing it. And they had this circle of the performers all together. And they said about how they all saw demons at night and that they were crawling on the one girl's belly and trying to impregnate her and all this stuff. I'm like, I don't knock what people think, what maybe things are happening to them. But in this particular case, all the players were saying it. And they said, and I'm like going, what? And then the one person said, one crawled across Tom and came on so and so, and they're screaming at night. I'm like, I don't remember that. And here's what they said. Since I'm the only guy that didn't see demons, they said, we got to pray for Tom. Because I'm like, what? Why? Because I didn't see what you claim you're seeing? It's the hysteria thing. I'm like, no. So I'm protected from that stuff. And it would be a waste of time for a bunch of demons to be around me. It'd be a waste of time. I'm not going to get anywhere. They'll be bored out of their skull. This guy's being nice. Oh my God, making me sick. It's like, but the crowd they could be talking about could be what I was given when I was given the work. And that's what's so wild. It just ties in finally. It said I wouldn't be honored on the earth. I'd be mocked. And that's what you're experiencing too by associating with me, right? But we'd be honored in the heavens. In the heavens, be honored. And so if there's time travel and time tourism, it seems like we went way off the track here, but I think it's important. This would happen because what I'm being told by the cabal and by good people like Roseanne is that this is the biggest story. So if it's the biggest story, we're talking about future generations understanding it completely, would they not want to go back and see it when it was misunderstood?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't just be doing this for fun. Like
Oh,
this affects me to my core. It's the
right.
reason I have Tom here with me. Like I want to get to the bottom of all this. I've studied the entertainment industry and Hollywood specifically for my entire life.
Right.
I went to school for it. I have books that like probably people don't even know exist. Just like picture books of like frame by frame of like movies, just shot by shot, scene descriptions on them. And so like very detailed stuff of the film industry. I put like a lot of my life, majority of my life into the film industry.
Right.
And then I come along well, throughout that, I always had this sense of like, oh, somebody's going to steal my work.
Mm-hmm.
I got to protect myself. And then I discover Tom that you have your work stolen, and
Mhm.
it's on such a larger scale than anything I have ever heard and seen of ever before. And to encapsulate the entirety of Hollywood, and to say like from a certain period to today, it's been compromised, and it's probably been compromised from the beginning. If you want to go back to like Thomas Edison and kicking everyone out to the West because of the decency laws. But anyway, he did with like patent stuff, and I can get off the rails on that topic too.
That's right. You just gave me an answer I've been looking for a long time that we've been asking even audiences to consider. You just gave it to me on that extra layer, one of those extra layers, which was why did the Wachowskis put the high school birthday, fiance's birthday, my dad's name, all that in the first graphic? Why'd they put it there? And what I was told by the inside was they were mocking. Some people said maybe they were putting it there to try to give you a leg up or let you know in the future that it was taken, a good thing. But what I just realized is no, they were definitely mocking. Because if they want to do the good thing, I ran it this way. I ran it as Tom Hanks. What if Tom Hanks was given the work as Warner Brothers was commissioning and ordering him to do? And authors certificate of authorship. It just occurred to me too. Certificate of authorship. They're giving Tom Hanks certificate of authorship, which means Larry didn't write it, right? And again, as their attorney said when the wrong tape recorder was handed back by Rankin, their planted attorney, that they had no working drafts. Okay, so they didn't write it. They made it up as they went along. But here's the point. Tom Hanks, with that certificate, if he had done it, he would not have stuck all my information. I'm certain would not have stuck all my information in the first graphic. He would have been very careful about how he rendered it without revealing the clues. Yet, if he had a conscience on it, he would have contacted me personally, like the story's insider. Larry Wachowski would have contacted me personally if he was actually meaning in any way, shape, or form benevolently. So he wouldn't have mocked. So what we have the answer for is that it was mocking. It was, as the insider said, mocking, purely, simply mocking. And the major ego attached, like Sophia Stewart's and this new person, the woman is getting the award, the same thing going on, like my sister. It's like they're mocking. That's it. That's it. That's their total drives for more rewards. The latest reward will be executive producer for Larry on Matrix 5. So what you have is now an answer. Why they did it? To mock. What would they have done if they were benevolent? Contacted, just like that story department insider did. So that solves that question definitively, I think. And Tom Hanks would have gotten away with it, really, because he would not have put the stuff in. Thank goodness they picked somebody so stupid. Well, Annie and Larry, who said at the dinner they were so excited, claiming Mel Gibson introduced him. Wow. Way to go, Mel. And then he was rewarded too with Forever Young as a reward for being the plausible or trying to create a plausible bridge. Why would they be picked when they failed at everything? But that's what's so interesting is that you got Tom Hanks would have pulled it off. The Wachowskis were so dumb, they put all the information in. They cannot get around that. Now they're trying. And the dirty move they did in the courts is unbelievable. In the malpractice, which I was told to do on Rankin, not Rios yet. Rio's never been charged. They were pushing me. Rankin's attorneys were pushing me to name Rio. They wanted to, so they can throw that too, so it couldn't be touched later. I never did. I said I wouldn't. They were pushing me, saying, you got to name him. Why would the defense attorneys be saying, you got to name him? Because they wanted to throw my chance to ever bring it up later, because they were handling it. So, and you got the Rankin letter to Rios saying, you're part of this, when he's supposed to be representing me. You're part of this. Linda Burrows from Warner Brothers, called Leslie and Proctor, Rankin and Rios, all defense attorneys, all from University of Berkeley. It's a letter that their attorneys try to say was a settlement letter and protected. It's not a settlement letter when you're trying to throw the client out under the bus. And they were saying that Rankin was writing that, contact any attorney that might represent Althouse in the future and tell him to talk to me and I'll talk him out of it. That's an incredible conspiracy letter. Then what happens is Doyle, this new judge is put in place, who's part of child trafficking in California, right? District 9. He comes into play when the MSJ fails on the malpractice. They bring him in and he declares there will be a summary judgment. Allows them to come in because he said, you do whatever you want, I'll do it. He told them in front of me in court, whatever you want, just tell me what you want, I'll do it. To them. That's how Kangaroo Breaker Moran it was. And so what they do is they draft up a summary judgment. They clear the courtroom, have only me there. They have me come in and say, and hand me a paper, the clerk, saying it's already done and decided. I don't even get a word. All 30 of my exhibits that would prove that the Matrix was stolen are blocked by Judge Doyle. Blocked. He says, we're only going to allow one of them. Guess which one is the one they only allow? After they've already determined the case is thrown, there's no merit. They allow the inserts without all the supporting evidence. Then they say, since there's no matchups along with the inserts, they blocked all the matchups, all 30 exhibits. This is null and void and means nothing. Your high school and everything means nothing in it because there's no matchups. So you can't use this again. So they blocked all the exhibits, throwing it before I get there. Do you see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
It's probably hard to grasp, but it's like, you can't. All the exhibits are in place to win the case.
You had your proof set and laid out.
All set, laid out in official entries, submitted on time to throw the summary judgment. And they do the summary judgment before I appear in the court. They hand me a paper as soon as I walk in, saying it's determined. Then it's moved to the last part of the docket. So only I'm there at the end with no witnesses. They brought in their own news team and the offices of the Rankin's firm or Rankin's team, from their secretaries to their other attorneys to their family members, were all there. They filled the court with their attorneys, families, reporters. They hired their personal court reporter. And they get up and tell me the case is nothing to do. I'm by myself. Maybe Aiden was there with me. That's it. He's watching his dad get shredded. That's when he lost his faith, because he knew he would win. And he's watching me get destroyed. Now, the honeypot wife made sure my tape recorders were missing. I bought one and gone in and I recorded everything. And when you hear it on tape, it's unbelievable. Because I'm also listing the benchmarks that the judge should be doing. Because the judge lets me speak at this point. Watch. He says, it's thrown, nothing you can do about it, it's over. We're only going to allow this one exhibit in. The rest of the 30 are blocked. So therefore, since it's by itself, that means it has no merit because it's not supported with evidence that we just blocked. It's inconceivable. Talk about fraud in the court. Worth billions, they bragged. Then they say this. So do you have anything to say? And it goes quiet, filled with the other firms, families, members, and attorneys, and desk people, media team, me and my son only. Memory of my dead sons. The court reporter who's hired, mocking me. I go to start to talk, and the court reporter's interrupted me. Slow down. Slow down, you're talking too fast. Because he's working for them. And I have to pay for that court reporter when the case is already thrown, just so they can have the pleasure of watching the sacrifice speak when he lost everything. It's entertainment. So you'll hear a tape recorder later. I want you to have this MP3 and hear it with this clearly defined for audiences that the future audiences will hear, which is interesting because I wrote for future audiences thinking no one would get it during our time. Well, now it's future from that aspect, point of thinking. So what happens is I start talking about the evidence and how this would destroy my son's life and mine. And I'm asking that the evidence be considered, that we be allowed to go forward, that it's all there, that the benchmarks be honored, that since I was not allowed to have representation, had asked for time to do it, it was denied, that it's according to the benchmarks for a pro per, that the evidence is weighed without all the procedures, that it is entered without fine points of gamemanship or saying you didn't dot this or cross that you allow because it's based on the evidence, the decisions. I lay it out for the judge. He's uncomfortable hearing this. I even look over to one of the lead attorneys that are there with his family. And he had been looking at me to see my response, and he suddenly looks away. It was almost like he felt shame for a moment. And I went on in tears talking about how, the benchmarks say, and you have this court reporter that's hired by them going, wait a minute, stop, hold on. All right, say it again. You're mumbling. Wasn't mumbling. Anything to interrupt.
That was a controlled plant.
Yeah, to rattle. What they're trying to do is put you away. And so that recording, I don't remember everything I said. I remember I went over the benchmarks. And Judge Doyle, this horrible monster of a man who is part of child trafficking, works with, actually, his name is Rusty Krabs. Can you believe it? Rusty Krabs, SpongeBob thing. Rusty Krabs is the guy's name who's works with child services to put families in California, take their children away, and child trafficking. And Doyle is the judge they always go to. That's the one they appointed to handle me, who kept saying, whatever you want, I'll do it, to their side. Preceding that, at a motion for summary judgment, they refused to agree to any discovery at all. And so I said, I'll have to have a motion for summary judgment, right? And I have a tape of that session too I want you to hear and also make public of their attorney, where we're saying about the unlicensed license, Rankin having unlicensed to practice law. And
Yeah.
15 minutes on that tape where they were late for the meet and confer. You'll hear them saying, we're not going to answer that question. No, you can't. No, you want, no. Then they go like this. We'll only answer it if you rephrase it to say of the period of this period to this period was the unlicensed. Well, that doesn't address the fact that he was unlicensed when he was with me, which is the main point of the number one question of interrogatories. Questions you're allowed to ask. And so they refuse. For 15 minutes, they refuse. And saying you have to rewrite the question. No, it's a simple question. Did he have a suspended license at any time? I have a sheet on the bar. I have it all there. They would not answer. So what happens is I say, I'll have to proceed to summary, a motion to compel. And this is, I'm notifying you as required by law. I'm letting you know I'm going to proceed to it. Go ahead. We don't care. Go ahead and do it. Now watch what happens. I send the letter saying I'll have to proceed to some motion to compel as we discussed during the meet and confer, blah, blah, blah. Dated, everything right? Addressed, sent in, certified mail. They send back a response, Stephen. Listen to this, and those listening in. Response is, excuse me, the response is this.
Bless you.
Yeah, the response is this. In Latin, it says this phrase in Latin, which interpreted means null and void. They said, everything you wrote, we consider in Latin, null and void, not receiving it. Then they send to the court during motion to compel. Althouse never contacted us about the motion to compel. What about the meet and confer where you're arguing 50 minutes? Go ahead and do it. Just go ahead and do it. What about the letter where you sent back it's null and void? How can you tell the judge that you were never notified? So I'm waiting to talk to the judge. He won't call on me. I'm going like this in the courtroom with my hand up. Won't call on me. So the judge says this. We have all the points of why it was, they should be compelled and fined for not, as they tried to put on me. And the judge goes like this. We're just going to keep everything the way it is. Just keep everything the way it is. It took me a week to prepare that stuff. Isn't that incredible? So that's that. Yeah. Wait till you hear the tapes. We're talking about fraud in the court, no due process, conspiracy. That's why their attorneys, as far as when you read, he lost his case. There's a lot more brewing underneath. And that's why this battle has stopped. That's why they've not turned their attention off on me, because they don't want any proof of it. That's why Aiden is in big danger right now with that threat made just recently. That was just made in the films, in the series. Valhalla by Netflix, by Chilton's group. That Aiden will be sacrificed and his blood will be drunk. And that clip,
That's just what they want to do.
Well, I'm saying
it's not set in stone.
I'm not saying it's going to happen or not happen. I'm saying they've made that threat.
Okay. Yes.
And they want to do it.
Yeah.
That they're guilty and culpable for that they should be put in prison. And that's part of this whole thing of throwing the case, that they even admitted they could go to federal prison for it and are afraid of it. And tried to actually use my niceness, the compassion side, making a plea to me at one point. They actually said, we can go to prison for this. A couple different times they've said this, actually. As if I'm going to be like, oh, I'm so sorry. I won't do it then. I won't say anything. I'll just let you roll me over. So what's interesting is this battle right now, as Roseanne said, is the biggest story. Where in history has it gone this far, where they've been this blatant, that they would do this in the courts, like they did with Robertson's thing, where they would just lie outright and in a way that's so involved with so many players, with so many billions at stake over one piece of intellectual property that warns about a second coming being faked and exactly what the plans of the cabal. How many actually knew what those were? Do you know there's a guy named John Rappaport in Hollywood, California,
John
who's,
Rappaport, yeah.
get this, he's a fraud. I'll say it right out. Him and his wife are right in the lion's den, put there on purpose. Sophia Stewart is supposed to claim my work. Wachowskis are supposed to claim my work. Elon Musk is supposed to claim my tech. John Rappaport is supposed to claim what I know and my philosophy. And so he goes around charging an arm and a leg for a Matrix lecture that you hire him for a lot of money. And he talks about my views that are in the work as if they're his own. He even says this, Stephen. He says, it just came to me from somewhere. It just came that Pat Robertson was going to have a second coming faked. John Rappaport is being used to snow the public. In fact, one of my handlers said, we need to talk to John Rappaport, and knew him personally. John Rappaport takes the philosophies, strips it from the author, and makes big money off it. And even says, lectures on the Matrix. Wachowskis get the story, and Sophia Stewart gets 5 to 7 million if the original author is handled, and can claim the Matrix title, because they're claiming the Immortals title. Not the story, the Immortals title. And then you have Elon Musk getting the tech. All divvied out. And that's not where it stops. Yanni, Yanni, I think it is, the artist under the Warner Brothers label, gets the music. They're compartmentalizing. They're giving him the music. So in 1993, after the submission, Yanni comes out with my very submitted music as part of his album. And the album's title is Dare to Dream. Warner Brothers takes the music, gives it to Yanni. Takes the story and gives it to the Wachowskis. Gives the tech, gives it to Elon Musk. And takes the philosophy and the warnings and gives it to John Rappaport right in Hollywood, doing very, very well and making a lot of money off of lectures on what I was talking about, as if it's his, with his wife, growing fat with him. Isn't that incredible? All divvied out.
How does one process all of this information?
In the future, they'll be able to. In the future, it'll be taught in schools. I swear to you, they'll be teaching it in schools. Which schools will be obsolete, though. I had the vision that schools will be obsolete. It'll all be done through the, I'm going to call it what it's supposed to be called, the brain enhancer, where they call it then the neural enhancer, then they call it the neural link.
I hope it just remains human to human interaction with learning.
That will be where the layers will maintain itself. If you go neural link, you'll lose the layers. You'll lose the layers of feeling. You'll become plastic like Sophia Stewart, the Be Humble lady now.
It's going to make a lot of it's going to make a lot of killers out of people, because it's going to just remove all of their ethics, all of their just sense of right. And when you have no morals, then it's kind of like your script like explores what do people do if they have the option to live forever.
And who will be the biggest threat to that society? Those that actually feel feelings in layers, those that actually think and conceive in layers, those that are compassionate will be the biggest threat in that society. If you believe it's all about power and putting your feelings in the freezer, which is warned about in the Immortals, then this neural link, well, actually neuro enhancer, they switch the name up, just like Immortals letters being Matrix, which they don't claim Matrix title. That's your means, like you just described perfectly, to have no feelings is that way. And I don't want to give it up. So I'm asking people, turn it down. Don't accept it. Because not only that, we also know, and they know that I know, and I've been saying it, that when the neural, because I'd said too during the premise of the piece that the rich in the future would have immortality, the poor is used as pawns, and they're announcing from Stanford to IBM that they solved it, right? In our time, just like the Immortal story said. And they're saying that it's not ready for the general public, only for the elite right now. They're actually saying it. Just like the premise that Joel Silver is taking after he finally understood it. And I explained it all and now calling it the greatest sci-fi concept ever in Altered Carbon. But the thing is that it will limit you. If you take it, they're going to have a upper rated one and a lower rated one. The general public gets the lesser one, the lesser enhancer, and the elite get the upper one, so they'll always be able to outthink you. So if you play that game and take that mark of the beast, you will not be able to cognitively function as well as they do. And guess what's going to be inputted into their enhancer that's not in yours? Feelings, layers of feelings. So even though they're guilty, remember we talked in the beginning about how your mind loses the capacity to actually, you become basically one feeling.
Yeah.
They'll be
Yeah,
able
interesting.
to, they're going to use our feelings and input it into their enhancer. So they'll feel what it feels like to be good in artificially incented and put in, which will be natural feelings that are ours, will be farmed. That's the really crazy thing about it, which is part of my Immortals too. So that's what's coming. They'll be able to feel the good guys when they're the bad guys. So my sister will be able to feel again while getting all the rewards for doing all the harm. That's something. Where the general population will not. You won't have that extra layer given to you in yours. You'll be limited. So that's how they're going to keep complete control over society. And mark this right now as being said right now, because they're going to try to claim it in the future for people like John Rappaport. Mark it that was said before he said it. It's important that we can help people later that way. That yes, they're going to have different types of neural enhancers. One for the elite is going to be more bells and whistles than the one for the general public. General public won't be able to feel. It'll be very plastic, very gray. Upper ones will be able to feel and have a much more powerful cognitive ability. And just like a better upgrade. Sort of like iPhone 11 versus iPhone 18.
I was thinking exactly that. A
See?
phone comparison.
So mark this, that it was said now, and we can compare it when they say it later and claim they're the first ones to say it. It's important. Apparently that matters to them. To fool the public, they have to claim they're the first ones to say it. So keep in mind that simple idea. They get the higher level one like the iPhone 18 versus we get the iPhone 11. And that's what's going to happen. And they'll have excuses for it. They'll have excuses for it. You can't handle it. You know, it'll be too much for you. It'll overload your brain. And we're afraid there could be possible side effects that be harmful until it's explored further and tested, which will never be. We're not going to make that general public suffer that. We'll go ahead and take the bullet and have the more higher ones. It's not meant for you, just as they're saying, like longevity right now. All coming true. Now, I ask people to get this, to understand it. One last try. Let's succeed together. Let's win this. Stephen, you're working your butt off to make this happen. Roseanne's going to do this interview. God bless her. We're going to be working hard to make all this happen. There's a whole lot of people like Jen and others that are working super, super hard. Make it worth it. Earn this, public. Earn this. And for my last son's sake, earn it. Because there's an offer for him to survive and for me to thrive. Earn it. Earn your place in the lifeboat right now. Get what's going on here and help us fight it. Give to us to fight it. I don't say that ever before, but help us fund this. Help us do this. Help us finish this. If we make the film, we'll win this fight. They know that. They're cowering. They're afraid. We've got them. They've admitted. And they even said, as we said, we've won the chess game, which I believe, again, is for the future. Be part of that future. And that's what I'm going to say now. I'm not going to hold back anymore. Let's win this. They've already told us how we will win. And the key is this. And it's not all these other lectures about people out there saying about the world is this or the world is that, or this is what you're doing, or they're doing this in Congress, or write your congressman, or this kind of stuff. We've got the key right here. We do this one task, cabal folds, and players come on board wanting to do the right thing. We can just debunk the whole thing, change it all, right? Forget writing your congressman. Just help us finish this piece. And everything, they've already told us that's what will win. It's like they're saying that cannon, if you fire that cannon, we will surrender. So why would everybody throw peas and slingshots at them right now? Fire the cannon. Here's the cannon. Make the film. And thank you, Stephen, for hanging in there, all that, and for all you've been through. You were here when the planes flew over. You were here feeling the symptoms. You know what's going on and how they react. You were here with a phone situation, couldn't even contact you before this interview.
Yeah, so I'm going to preface this a bit. Tom recorded on the 31st of July, 10 days ago, multiple passovers of these planes again.
Right.
He recorded it from his phone. And then he started sending me these videos through Messenger, through text to message, actually. And so it was lower quality, but I thought it had no audio on it. It turns out they do have audio. And
Oh, okay.
so Tom ended up sending me 6 clips, and these clips I wanted to try to work with Tom to get them onto the Google Drive, and then we could show them here live today on this show. And we will be showing them. But when we ran into a roadblock of getting the higher quality ones off the phone before the phone crapped out.
Yeah.
So something happened where Tom's phone just completely decided to give up.
It was when I was downloading the imagery, when I was downloading the FBI materials about the FBI, that's when the phone went to my computer said it no longer recognized the device, that everything went blank. It showed a little box with a cord being fed into it. And they said that what that means is a complete failure, had a complete system-wide failure on it. So that's what they said. Yeah. Right when I'm downloading.
Can you hear this?
No, not yet.
Okay. So I'm going to be running into that same problem with.
Don't worry. Oh, I can see it though.
Audio.
But they're going. It was after they'd already flown over the house, right over the house.
Yeah.
And you can see how low it is. And this is right from the backyard, like where you have been, right? Filming. So they go right over the house, spraying late at night or at night.
Yeah. So this was at this was at night at like what, 11:30, I think it was.
It's at night.
11. It was 11:24. You sent me that first video,
and
so
that's something. Yeah, and saying about they don't allow flyover like residential area like flyovers that low, especially late at night. I mean, that is really low. That's like Pearl Harbor torpedo bomber. It sounds like that too. It always has the same sound, always the same plane.
We'll get back to these. I don't know why I'm not having audio. It's like every time I have to go back in and read. I know.
But the spraying, what it does is you hear me choking up today.
Yes.
And that's exactly where it is right here. So the upper throat gets, maybe other people recognize it on themselves during the spraying. When they spray low at night like that, it had a flavor to it too, like a sensation of like burnt honey, as I described it, with metallic kind of feeling. It's like metallic taste, like metal chips, like metal with burnt honey is what I described. And it's like right away, it's this. Your throat starts to close up at the top, right where the Adam's apple is. And you get the burning red eyes, and you get the dull headaches on the side here, like right on the side here. And that's the first reactions, and a sore throat. So right away, so something's going on with what they're spraying. And it ain't mosquitoes.
Yeah, and it was like I was getting those same symptoms too.
Yeah, I have
So
it now. I have it now because it was happening last night. And usually, 24 hours later, it intensified, so it's like that would fit right now with what happened last night. So that's why I'm having trouble speaking. And they'll time it before an interview or before something very important. And so like the eyes and everything, yeah, it's crazy. It's absolutely nuts. But it's effective. It's effective. It's a perfect delivery system, you know. And what's interesting is the authorities will do nothing about it. I mean, if this was back years ago, I think it would be alarming that planes were buzzing the roofs, and spraying. And people would be asking, "What are you spraying?" But people are conditioned not to ask anymore, not to even not to question that kind of thing. Just like the Illuminati says, yours is not to question. They say, when they try to recruit. Go ahead.
yeah, I still don't have sound, but we're gonna play this next clip. So
Yeah,
now the plane is going the opposite way, like 90 degrees different. So
then it
now it's
had before.
going along the line of the highway, and it does this. I think it's like a fourth pass, fifth pass, seventh pass,
Yeah, it
eight
went on like,
passes
yeah, that's right. I think
over
it's like at
20
least
minutes or
these days.
so.
Yeah, it was like really quick. I sent you the pictures, and then the next pass would come. I'd send you the pictures, next pass would come. I was like racing to get them to you because I knew the next one would be coming. I've seen it so much. Go ahead.
All right. So now we have a similar video, the plane coming back from the
Coming right
direction it
back the
was
same
flying.
way. So it's coming right back the same way. Look how low it is. Late at night, spraying. So this time they weren't doing the crop dusting thing where they kept going farther and farther away. It was like they kept coming over the same spot.
Here, can you hear
There
the
it is. I can hear
audio?
it now.
Okay.
Go back to the first one.
Yeah,
All
we'll
right.
start over here. So first one's really loud.
That was so incredibly low, I could throw up a softball and hit it. Second pass. Right
Second
over,
pass. That's a second pass.
going a brand new direction. Spraying
So
its
this is
way.
different than any other time before, like the direction it's going.
Yeah, and then this it was filmed sideways on accident.
All right.
I saw,
You
but
can see it.
yeah.
You get the idea of the spraying there, though.
Yeah, and these are all looking out the back of
Same spot.
Tom's.
Yeah, right at the back. Now it comes back the other way again. It keeps crisscrossing back and forth this time. That's something like one of those shooting gallery ducks.
And what's on the other side of that highway, Tom? Like zoning
Nothing.
wise.
Yeah, basically it's nothing on the other side of the Hawaii. Uh, um, sorry, I was in Hawaii.
The,
The
the
other
the
side.
highway. The
Yeah,
highway.
the other
It
side
was
of
a
Hawaii.
Freudian slip for you.
I keep saying Hawaii. I can't stop saying Hawaii because of what's going on in Hawaii. But yeah,
There's a lot of
it's closer
just
again.
open land. Like in that
Yeah, open
area,
land.
it's undeveloped. There's really nothing much as residential goes.
This is a threat, is what they're doing. Like when they put it back and forth like this, spraying back and forth, right? First, like two passes, like directly over the house is to get to come out, right? And like we talked about, and then they'll just go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. It's to send a message. It's the agencies. They use the Piper Cubs. Because think what a waste of fuel this is over nothingness.
Yeah, what's the point? What's it? Why? What are they spraying? Why?
Right.
And
And they're not learning to fly because why would you learn to fly late at night? And why would you just keep doing the same thing straight away?
I guess it'll carry the wind. Like crop dusting.
So low.
now, what would happen if you like uh had a bow and arrow and put an air tag on it that got the
Yeah.
plane to see where it ended up going? Like,
Well, they would accuse me of endangering the pilot.
Like they're pretty much trying to bait you to do
Yeah,
something
indeed.
like
Look,
that,
it's
right?
lower than before.
Somebody driving on that highway could do a bow and arrow type of thing with that, because that's
Oh,
really
look how
close.
low it is. Look how low that is.
It's like Fast and the Furious type of movie stuff.
And that's the question. Why are they going back and forth late at night? If you're training or something, it'd be during the day.
Yeah, all along that ridge line is all highway. There's a highway right
It's the
here.
highway. It's the toll road. Yeah. And it's not police because you're not going to see anything going back and forth that way that fast. You'd use a helicopter. And that's something. And then there was more. I didn't film anymore, but they kept passing over. So there's more than this.
We'll look at the first one once more.
Yeah, so they just kept going.
And this was July 31st.
Mhm.
I was so incredibly low. I could.
And how often have they been doing this? Like,
Basically getting on to about weekly to bi-weekly. So they're really intensifying. But that's the same thing with the phone going out, and keeping the symptoms going. I expect with the Roseanne Barr interview coming up, they're going to be doing everything under the sun, to make it really unpleasant.
yeah,
And I think that's why the phone thing too, to break
Tom,
that.
sorry, Tom.
Go ahead.
Tom's living in Texas, so all this footage is from Texas. Somebody was asking.
Yeah, Texas. And Texas is one of the safest states, but the congressional and the Pentagon, the agents can do what they want in any state. Now, there's in that battle, Texas is standing up to the agents on border crossing. And that's why Texas is the best state, I think, for dealing with agents who are trying to target you. But the Congress people and military can be influenced by the Pentagon, obviously, and the agency, and they can have these military planes and helicopters flying over, and there's nothing we can do about that. So, but we're in the best state to do what we can. We're not having SWAT teams coming at us like Pennsylvania was happening. So yeah. Anyway. All right. Any other questions before wrap?
Yeah, there was one. Okay, so we'll get into the chat right now. So Norma thanked us for your answer about the who's setting the rules. So your answer to that question she asked.
I'm blown away that England is the center of it, really. Isn't that something? Like you said about the Revolutionary War, we did talk about.
Yeah, they're jailing people for memes.
1812, all that stuff. We never could cut our ties. I guess we always were a part of the agenda, the empire system. And it's like when you look at Australia and Canada too, being very much immersed in this, Trudeau being in the pocket, and Hollywood being the ambassadors, stars being the ambassadors to bring them all together. So they're part of the award system. Like Wachowskis were promised beautiful starlets, so it's like they're divvied out as part of the awards, which Trudeau gets. Trudeau, Prime Minister of Canada, gets starlets like Larry was promised. And his excuse, let's look at that one more time. His excuse for taking starlets on the plane with him down to official functions is that he said the only way he can really influence America's policymakers is bring starlets along. What a nice excuse. Yeah. Starlets is part of Trudeau's rewards. And they fly with him, just like Tony Stark scenes with the plane with a pole in the center. Go ahead. All right. Anything else?
Yeah, Matt Kermy said, I'm honored to be here, by the way, and thank you for offering up your time. Both of you are incredible people. He also had a question, and I'll read it to you, but I mean, the answer, we'll give a short answer to it. But he asks, Tom, from what you know, is Elon for the people or for the establishment? He is offering the last platform that allows free speech, but he still seems off,
That's a great question. And really what's happened is, like I said before, but let's expound on it. Let's use that question to even get better in on this one, because this is very important. Elon was hired, just like Sophia Stewart was hired. He got that offer I got to be brought into the cabal and to be a face. I was to be the face of the Christian Coalition, run for office, all this stuff. He is well groomed as the face. If you accept, you are taken care of, just like the Rockefellers did with me. So you get those dinners, you get media coverage just making you glow. And it's like you are just pushed forward as the savior, basically. That was my role I was being given if I was in line with it, if I accepted it. But the conditions for that acceptance is I don't care about the general public. I'm only for the elite, doing what the elite want to control the general public. Elon Musk accepted what I turned down. He's even given my tech. He is there to oppose as the public savior, while he will not be there giving a care in the end. If you watch clips with him walking with somebody or someone coming up to him, there's a clip with him, a camera on him, where the person's asking a question, he's completely ignoring him. He's given that total air of, you're not part of the elite. I'm not even going to give you acknowledgement. And it's just him and the guy walking along. And the guy's not being obtrusive. He's just trying to ask him a question as if he's a fan. And so what you have is that idea that I'm above you. And that's that egocentric thing coming in again. So Elon Musk is the poster child for the cabal, as I was supposed to be the poster child for the cabal. And he's even had the plastic surgery to look really nice, like I was to be the face of the Christian Coalition. So no, he's not there for us. And he's supposed to be the one, like good cop, bad cop, the one we turn to, who's to be our hope. If we put all our hope on Elon, we won't be looking for other people to have hope with. And if he seems to be that he'll be the one that's going to save us, then we won't be looking outside that box. And that's exactly what they're doing, is focusing our attention on their guy who's employed, who's stealing the tech, who's being given the tech. He didn't come up with Neuralink, but he's being allowed to claim it. Just like Tom Hanks was being selected to get the Immortals, ordered and commissioned to take it. Elon Musk was ordered and commissioned to take Neuralink. And so Tom Hanks put him in Elon's role right there. He's ordered and commissioned certificate of authorship for the Immortals. So you look to Tom Hanks, same kind of idea. Looks like a nice guy, right? Well, we're catching on to it, aren't we? All of us. Elon Musk, the same thing. Mark my words. In the next year or two, we'll be looking at Elon Musk the same way generally in groups as we do with Tom Hanks. We will. And we'll be looking back going, how could we have even believed this guy? Look at the layers, discern, and see how he really comes across. Read if there's actually feelings there, dimensions of feelings, or just one plastic thought going on, one image. And what you'll see is arrogance and the idea that I'm looking like a nice guy, but there's something missing. And that's that genuineness. You know, when any of us talk here, you're going to see us feeling what we feel and not afraid and not abashed to show what we feel. Elon, here's me as Elon. So if I was talking as Elon, I'd be like this. Well, yeah, I feel that. Yep. Well, we're going to be bringing that forward soon.
There is this really
anything beyond the veneer
on Twitter.
And I may go like this. Yeah, I may go like this. But there's nothing beyond that protection mask. Nothing, because I am told what I'm supposed to do as the face to get you to acquiesce. So does that make sense?
Yeah, there's a Twitter meme somebody put up with Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. Whoever the politician is that's dumb as a box of rocks, Hispanic, and then she's like, just like it's all her like looking like all like bug-eyed and shit. To Elon, it's cutting back and forth between her and Elon, and it's making it appear like they're flirting with each other by just looking at each other. But the way that Elon sits there, it just is like that smug factor.
It's the I'm above you. And that's your clue right there. Is Elon for us? No. Does Elon give free speech? No.
Do you ever hear him
Twitter? He blocked me from Twitter. I can't even access my own account on Twitter. And he's putting memes up to mock and compare and react to anything we say online. And so it's like, and you showed those, Stephen. So it's like he's playing his part and he gets his rewards. And when push comes to shove, he will not be there for any part of humanity except the elite.
There's people like The Rock, Dwayne Johnson, that goes on social media and posts, oh, this is my first time eating at In-N-Out Burger. and he has all of the food prepared on like a dinner plate, instead like unwrapped outside of all the packaging and everything. And then if it turns out this was not his first time there, and he's called out about it on the internet. These people are so fake. They're trying to fit in, and they can't. Like they can't even go to a drive-through fast food and be like, "I'm one of you," because they don't live like that. And
No.
even like I used to do the whole 9 to 5 thing, go and drive a commute an hour to work and an hour back. And what do you do when you go home? You go to the gas station, you pick up gas station food or fast food because you want to get on the road to get home. And you're constantly eating all of this food, and it's bad. It's just really bad. You shouldn't be promoting that like that. Like, I'm one of you. The Rock eating something that's just like McDonald's. Like, this guy's not eating this on a daily basis, and neither should anybody else.
Well,
But
watch
the
the
connection is
reaction. They will react to what we do because they are told we're watching everything we do, you know. And like even Roseanne was very sweet about it. She said, "We watch all your interviews," you know. And she's on the sweet side of this. But it's like watch Elon react to this one. Okay. Watch him react to it. So basically, if he was genuine, if I was in my position back having credit for my work, and Stephen, we were getting credit back, I'd be telling you the Neuralink, all the bad things about it. While I'm telling you the good things, I'm telling you the bad things. Elon doesn't tell you the bad things. I'd be telling you, well, it does have this drawback and this, and we're working on this, but it's like we're concerned about this, where it could be used even to control populations. I would tell you that point blank. Elon doesn't. Now, watch for the future where Elon starts to, because we've made that aware. So all of a sudden, he may start to try to imitate who they're taking from, right? And he'll be instructed on what to do. And so suddenly you'll see him start to say probably something like, well, there are some bad things and we're concerned, but we're going to work on that. And I guarantee you, we won't release it until it's perfected and within safe. And I'm sure that it won't hurt people. Watch for that little speech. But the thing is, like, they'll say it because we brought it forward. If we had not brought it forward, they wouldn't say it. And also keep in mind, are they listening? They're listening. They react right away. They have people that are assigned to analyze, what we say, anything they could say that we lied, anything they could say that we were missed on, anything we say that they need to be put that fire out, that we've alerted the public to something they don't want. It doesn't matter about the numbers. It matters that it's been said. In Game of Thrones, commissioned by Warner Brothers, again, HBO, just like Tom Hanks, the in-house employee, George Martin, puts in there through Tyrion Lannister that if 10 people hear it, it's out of control. It's a story. It's out there. You can't stop it. So yeah. Yes, absolutely. So Elon Musk scares me the most out of every single player of the cabal. Why does he scare me the most? Because I know I was groomed for his position. He got my position when I said no. I said no because it scares me what they wanted me to do. And that they wanted my personality and my face and my eyes and my look and my mannerisms and my heart to steer people down a hole where it would only be the 1% that benefited and the rest of you be misled to your own demise and your family's demise and your children's loss. So that's what scares me. Elon Musk is the worst out of every single player. And behind the scenes, Rappaport's not much better, John Rappaport. And I'll just spell it out. Notice how they keep them under the radar as far as their actual doing. Look at the face right there, the plastic surgery. That guy looks like Larry Wachowski to me. It's like Larry Wachowski, done over.
well, the hairline, it's all fake. He's bald.
It is fake. It
He's
is fake.
bald.
He was going bald, right? But that's the thing is, it's all about the image, and we're supposed to trust him. And why did they want me? Because I had a boyish look about me in a boyish manner. Why they want Elon Musk? Because he has a boyish look about him, a boyish manner that women and men are supposed to go, oh, he seems so nice, that even when he does horrible things in the future, we'll go, yes, but he seems so nice. He looks like a nice guy, a nice boy. Do you see it? Now look at the eyes. He can't hide it in his images. The eyes tell you what's going on. There is darkness in there. There is darkness in there. There is darkness in there. And I know. That's why they don't want me being seen or you being seen too. Because if you look in our eyes, you'll see a concern for humanity, a drive for what's good, and an appreciation for those that also have that, and that we can see through people like this. So this man is the front man.
His middle name is Reeve.
I just caught that.
What the?
Wow. Wow. This was all planned out. This man was he was a failure. He actually failed at what he did, and the cabal brought him out. My sister was failing too. They brought him out. My brother was failing, brought him up.
University of
Neuralink, co-founder of Neuralink. He did not. Anyway,
we'll get this all exposed.
Part of PayPal. That's why people are saying
he acquired it.
Get donations through.
He acquired all. He did not invent any of this stuff.
No,
he jumped in when the prices. It's like
they brought him in.
The markets collapsed. The markets collapsed. Elon jumped in after the markets collapsed, bought the properties.
Wait a minute. I never knew this. Oh my God. Stop 1 second. My God. Oh my God. I never got this before. University of Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
That's where all my family went to school. University of Pennsylvania. Oh my God. No wonder they picked him.
That's where
I was supposed to go to college.
Yeah, that's where you lived for a long time, right?
No. Oh my God. They're the ones that handled also the Indian cricket thing by the FBI at the embassies of Canada and US and Cuba was done through the University of Pennsylvania. And I just got a call the other day, right before my phone went out. The last call I received on my phone, it read on the prompt, University of Pennsylvania. So University of Berkeley University and University of Pennsylvania are the two institutions of the cabal. They are definitely being utilized by the cabal. And people are being sent there, brought out of there. Unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable.
Yeah, Katie Cat says college for grooming.
Exactly.
Yeah, they sent Elon there, to get caught up on the extra programming that he did.
My brother with Disney, my brother with Disney went there, has a degree. My mom went there. My dad went there. They all went there. Nittany Lions.
Grief.
Unbelievable. And that's the guy that's taking my work. I did not know. That's shaking me up. That's really blowing me away.
Well, think about this. He has OpenAI, which is now considered shit. You have, I don't know what Zip2 is. Is that the zip drives that you have that script on? That would be wild if that's what that is. And then you have X, which that was not the Twitter thing for
the missing letter from Immortals to make Matrix. Yeah. When he was given that. So unbelievable. Well, that's blowing me away here. I'm just feeling pretty sick. Unbelievable. Well, there's another piece to it.
Yeah, Pennsylvania. You have to find out when he attended and what he studied. Like, what did he take all blow-off classes?
Maybe. But anyway, he was there probably when my brother was there. Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
It's funny. I've just pulled this from just our little archive here.
Oh my God. All right. Well, that hit me. All right, Stephen. Wow. Any other questions before we go?
Not at this time.
From the audience? No? Okay.
Let me read. Yeah. Very quick. I'll read here. Norma said, Tom, that's true. I worked in mental health, and 80% of the people in the field come from dysfunctional upbringing. And ask for your sister's name. Julia, right?
Julia Zarko. And now it's be back to Julia Althouse again. But Julia Zarko, Szarko. Yeah. But you'll see that footage at some point. I'm sure they wouldn't strike it with her as a Sandy Hook spokesman, but spokesperson. Yeah. All right.
And yeah, there's that talking about satellite phone. Yeah, I mean,
All right.
do the stuff you need to protect yourself, and like get a VPN if you can. Um, it's very important just to make sure your data is protected. Your passwords, I say, write them down on pieces of paper or anything like that.
Well,
Keep,
that's the crazy thing about Warner Brothers and Disney and the rest of them all with the cabal. Remember the guy said they're lower on the scale of who's really in power, but they're being given mega monopolies over all different fields of tech. Look at Elon Musk's little listing of his resume, basically, short brief. Warner Brothers with CNN, owning TMZ, owning tech, owning computer systems, owning securities. They can do whatever they want. And they're, and then you got Disney with ABC News, and they own everything from, uh, God, there's like, if you look at the list of ownings by Disney, it goes on for page after page. These are mega monopolies that are just way beyond out of control, and they're exploiting that ability and power. And they said it's all about power. So Elon Musk is really, he's the face for all of them to get away with what they're getting. We're supposed to be snowed and wooed away, and then they'll pull the rug. At this point, with Elon Musk being in place with my tech and taking my place as, look, personality, everything, imitating and taking credit for my stuff, I could be eliminated, or in the plan to be eliminated, the Wachowskis wanted, because they have Elon to take my place. So, but I'm going to do everything I can and keep going for as long as I can to, make a difference. And that's not feeling sorry for myself. That's just, I'm taking it serious, that the time could be limited and I need to do everything I can. If anything ever does happen to me, I ask that people realize that it was never a suicide. I would never do that. I wouldn't leave people hanging, especially with what I know. I'm going to do everything I can to my last breath. I'm not that stupid or selfish, and I will finish the job. If I was going to commit suicide, I would take their offer and have a great life for my son, right? If I was that low, getting to that point of lowness, of feeling that low. So I'm not going to stop. Anything happens to me, it was by them, the agencies. So, but we'll do everything we can.
well,
All
we
right.
have it on the record.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're most welcome, Tom. I mean, what can I say? Every time I have you here, it's an honor to have you.
Thank you.
I'm always intrigued by everything you talk about, and I'm not just kissing your ass.
I know.
I do think you do have a presence, and you just you have that storytelling gift, and it shows. It permeates in everything you do and say, and I think that just lends further to your credibility.
Well,
So
thank you. I think what scares them is we don't have that ego. It's like they accuse us of being, like Stewart says, egomaniac and things like that. My sister will try to throw the card, but they're the ones that carry that. They're the ones that name their companies that. To do what we do, to weather what we weather, the ego has to be gone. It has to be definitely that feeling of my drive is for humanity. My drive is for the kids. My drive is for everybody does matter. When you have that locked in, ego has no room, no place. It doesn't fit. Because if you did an ego thing like they do, where it's all about them and they have to matter, then you can't have that concept seated where it's for everybody, because you will take the place of it being for everybody. It'll all be about you. All eyes on me, says Sophia Stewart, is our company. So, but with the ego gone, we can embrace the concept of it is for everyone. That's how we save humanity. And Elon Musk is not out to save it. It's a great question. He's not out to save it. He's out for his gains and rewards. He's already written the rest off. But thanks, Stephen. Thanks so much.
when is the Roseanne interview? Is there a tentative
Yeah,
date?
it's on August 19th.
August 19th.
You can bet your boots she'll be contacted by people like Be Humble Award and stuff like that, who is contacting hosts right now, telling him not to use me and saying that what Rankin said, all lies, liar. So that's ongoing. They're going to try to stop everything they can. And the trip up and the trip back is going to be dangerous. It's going to be dangerous. And I know that because the highways are the playgrounds of the agencies. They can employ certain police and do whatever they want on the roads. And there's been many incidents on the roads. I've had contacts, handlers even say, you don't ever think you're safe. The highways are their target fields
I'm
because
gonna
they
ask.
control law enforcement. Yeah.
I'm gonna ask everyone watching and our audience to pray for Tom for his safety to
Thank you.
Roseanne's and
Mhm.
back home from
Back.
Roseanne's, so
Thank
that
you.
everything is all okay for him when he goes out to do that interview. I just want Tom to be safe and to come back in one piece. Don't want you to lose a finger or a toe.
Appreciate
But
that. And that Roseanne doesn't go through too much harassment through the minions trying to sway her either. It's annoyance. It's an old tactic what they got left. So to throw. So yeah. All right. All right. I have jet spray voice right now, so apologize.
yeah. Oh no, you rocked it today, Tom. We're going almost we're over 2.5 hours.
All right.
But
Well, thanks for doing this though. Yeah.
it's my pleasure. And yeah, until the next one, class dismissed. And you're always welcome here, Tom.
Thank you.
And yeah, I guess we'll have a great weekend. And until the next one, take care.